I did it.
Stuff to happen. What evil urge to happen?
You know what's really funny, right? I do the silence track before I hit the stream button, which is stupid because when you hit the stream button, the fans ramp up, so the ambient noise changes. I was like, why do I do this?
Is it really that intense to stream around nerds?
Oh yeah, yeah. This is like the most hardcore thing my PC does at this point. Honestly, it is.
There we go. Good name on the stuff at Graham.
Skazz.
Welcome to episode 173 of the Rand Nerds podcast.
Marvelous. I'll be asking you that again later. What episode was that again?
Yeah, just go by the file names I send you.
Oh, I don't. Actually, I'll be honest with you. If it weren't for you numbering the files, I'd be like, what is this? Like sometimes I just look and I just put like Skazz, raw audio, Skazz, edited audio, episode, no thing, edit. You know,
that's very unhelpful.
Life is unhelpful. It's great.
You sure you don't have like anything? Do you like me? You've got a project on your phone that's called like sort of Project Final for real.
That's like having my
Project
15
Final
missed files.
version 2 final.
The third.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yes.
No, there's no such thing as a final version of a project.
Never. Because even when you're doing the remaster, you'll then go George Lucas on and do another one in like fucking a week's time.
Mm.
Yeah.
Change everything. I want to upgrade. Yeah, I'm going to change all those graphics. Yeah.
You know the canon? I'm changing that too. Fuck you and your love of my story. I think my story sucks, so I'm going to change it.
Yeah. I'm going to redo all the graphics. I'm going to change it. I'm going to refilm it all. This is Star Wars, the director's cut version 72, where they all go on holiday for the weekend.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. They
Just imagine, even when he dies, I reckon it's probably going to be in that bastard's will to change everything again. As if he's probably got a list of things that he wants to change like every 5 or 10 years so they can keep re-releasing it.
Look, Skazz, as we know, Star Wars is a very small little media utility. It doesn't do very well, so the only way you can make money is by changing things up so they have to buy the originals again. You know, these little small media groups and sort of like brands and stuff, you have to do that sort of thing. Otherwise, how do they survive in this modern day?
It's bizarre. I
I
don't think many people have heard of Star Wars, to be honest with you.
I've just had something fly past my ear. There's a moth in here.
Well, that's fine because it's not coming through on the audio because you've got a wonderful new audio interface.
It is a lovely audio interface that Skazz has just managed to make it work for me. It's tiny. It's literally about...
it's tiny.
I
hear that all the time.
Right, honestly, right, look. I can't actually see my...
Always winging it down to his crotch after saying it's tiny.
Yeah. Look at that.
That's beautiful.
And I mean, just look at the...
That's the UMC 22, isn't it? And then the...
Yeah.
So, did we find it was the 22 that had failed?
I don't know, actually. I know I got one to... I did a few tests on it, and it seemed to be playing all right mostly. So I was like, fuck it then, I'll just buy a new one. And see what happens. And it's so far, it's a lot nicer audio.
Yeah.
And it's not actually that much. I mean, I bought a decent... Well, I say decent. I didn't buy an insanely expensive XLR cable. I bought a nice. I sort of looked at a bit of research. I picked a nice-ish brand.
Define nice-ish.
About 15 quid for half meter length.
Right. What brand?
Not
endorsed.
I can't remember now. I've put the packets in the bin.
Oh, there you go. I
can't actually remember at the moment. But it was. I sort of went and looked on like the forums, what people were saying, what was good, and so forth. And once these audio file forums, and sort of like said, yeah, these are really good, but they are like you're paying like. So there's like one. This is a fantastic audio cable. It's like 50 quid a meter. Like, I'm not paying that much.
I mean,
so
all it takes is a slightly dodgy solder joint, and your cable's shite.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot to fuck up an XLR cable.
No, exactly. So I got that. Got a new cable. I did manage to find a shielded USB, but I've not used it. But I have got it if I needed it. All that for like 110 quid.
There you go.
I thought that ain't bad, is it really?
No, and at the end of the day, if it gets that microphone to work again, because we tested
Yeah.
it on one of my focus rates, and it worked fine. Although I will say, on that audio test, I was not a fan.
All right.
I liked the Rode, the build quality and all that, but the audio that came out of it, just I was not happy with that at all. It sounded really thin.
Oh, okay.
And I don't have... No, I've heard those microphones. Fine. Just on that day, just I guess the planets didn't align. Yeah. And because my voice isn't thin. I don't have a mid-high voice. If you were to look at the audio spectrum of, if you were to look at the frequencies, bass or sub-bass, bass, and then you've got your mids are in your low mids, and then your higher mids, and then you go into treble. Pretty much everything is in your mids.
Yeah.
My voice ain't very high. At all.
No.
That microphone made me sound like a prepubescent girl.
Well, there you go. Then you know what it's going to be sounding if you're a prepubescent girl.
It was amazing. I was just like, wow. That's what I'd sound like if I had no nuts. But no, the build quality on that thing's amazing. I reckon you could knock someone the fuck out with that.
Oh, it's a solid bit of kit.
If you dropped that down a stairwell and that hit someone, that'd be a hospital trip guaranteed.
That's not an exaggeration. It is bloody heavy.
Yeah. It's the microphone itself is a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. And it's a damn sight heavier than I thought it was going to be. And I've got boxes of microphones. That was a pretty heavy mic.
Yeah, I've forgotten how heavy it was when I was taking it off the stand. Like, this is a lot heavier than I remember.
I mean, let's put it this way. What mic stand is that? That's a cheapie, isn't it?
That's a cheapo one mic stand.
Right. Well, I've got a Rode PSA 1 mic arm. I like that mic arm. I haven't got anywhere to bolt it, so I don't use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've got microphones that are about the same size as that are so fucking gutless weight-wise, you can't even use the mic arm. It just won't hold it in place. You'll lower it, and it'll just go straight back up to the top.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee, that thing would be fine.
To be fair, actually, this mic arm, for how cheap it was, is actually pretty not bad at all. You put it somewhere, it doesn't tend to move.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It's not actually bad, and doing that, what it has to do, it's got the whole, basically a pop filter and a microphone, and not move. Then what it does is that. So I'm quite happy with it, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
So until it snaps, so I'm not going to bother to replace it. But the working side of it, the mic and the thing, at least got some decent gear now.
Yeah.
For microphone stuff.
So are you now finally invested in Rand Nerds? Because you said, I'm not going to buy an expensive interface and an expensive microphone because I don't know how much I'm going to use it. Then, this weird thing called a pandemic happened.
At the time, we just had gone into the pandemic and we didn't know how long lockdown was going to last.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't know how long we'd be needing it for. So we hadn't started games like that point. So it seemed silly to spend a lot on something that we are mainly used for a couple of months.
And let's also be fair as well. For years and years and years, with the exception of the handful of episodes that you recorded yourself, I say handful, like what, a year or two's worth?
Something like that, yeah.
And we've been running for a long old time. Every other episode has been recorded with my equipment. Yeah. So you've not needed to invest in...
Exactly, I didn't need to, and so I didn't.
But now you have. How do you feel?
Now I have. Now I've got some decent gear.
I mean, you happy? Is it?
Oh yeah. It's a business expense at the end of the day. This is going to be used for my business.
Yeah, of course. You're going to become a voiceover artist by the end of the week.
Well, no, but I do videos, and occasionally I need to record dialogue over the videos. So and obviously for my production, well, you want decent audio. So I've invested. So it's a business expense. Taxman's going to be quite happy with me.
I haven't been able to write that kind of stuff off in years. So how many different microphones do you need? All of them. This is starting to sound like your idea of the Steam library. I was like, Yes. It's like someone said to me the other day, it's like, your house is like a hacker house. You've got monitors and TVs in nearly every room other than the toilet. And I said, I can change that. Right? They said, you've got more headphones than a hi-fi store. And it's like, maybe. I'm like, is everything in excess?
Yeah.
Taxman would not be happy with me if I was claiming all that back.
You've got to be. It's not taking the piss, isn't it?
Yeah, but let's be fair, mate. Let's be fair. I can see like 6 pairs of headphones right now. So I think, like, no matter how you slice it, Taxman would be saying, Skazz, taking the piss, mate. Yeah.
But what if you had yourself and 5 clients round who needed to watch a video you edited, but there was like a really loud concert on next door, so you need to wear headphones, you couldn't hear that, then you would need all those headphones.
He's right.
So therefore, I think it's perfectly reasonable to claim that back as a business expense, because you're just planning ahead for you are being a very proactive business person by thinking of the worst case scenario and planning for it.
It's true. It is true. Thanks, Ram. Thanks.
Yeah,
Got me covered.
look, eventually you can figure out a way to claim anything as a business expense if you could come up with a bullshit reason behind it.
I reckon I could.
It's like, so how can I? Yeah, it's like, how do I put this through on the business account? Let's see how I can figure out a way to do this. Oh, yeah, I say it's for that. There we go.
Nailed it. First try.
And of course, it is for that. I do use it for that. I mean all the.
Let's be fair. Politicians can claim back breakfast.
Yes, but you forget that they're rich people. Rich people don't have to play by the same laws as me and you.
Yeah, that's bullshit. I can't claim back my breakfast.
It's the way the world works, you know. It's the way the world works, you know. It's expensive to be poor.
It's true. It is true.
If you're just making do, all the little expenses and so forth, they're the ones that catch you out.
Yeah.
But if you're wealthy, you don't have to pay that sort of tax, or this, or any tax actually.
Bastards.
I remember there's an interview, wasn't there? There was an interview with an MP, and they're talking about the expenses and about sort of getting paid to travel into sort of London and so forth, having a second digs at that. And this guy was trying to defend it by saying, look, you don't understand. Parliament's a very busy environment, time thing. You have to be there on time and making sure you're doing decisions and so forth. And the interviewer said, what, you mean like a job?
Yeah, pretty much. Just like, good job, mate. Oh!
Yeah, it's called being employed. Congratulations.
So what, I thought you were all on the dole.
Well, they are sort of on the dole, aren't they, to be fair?
Effectively. Just like Lizzie.
Yeah, exactly. Lizzie's on the dole.
Fucking dole family.
Yeah.
If I'm unemployed for like fucking 6 weeks, I get hammered on. When the fuck are they going after Queenie?
Yeah. It's one of those things that technically, you see, it's one of those weird laws, is the way it's set up, that technically she can't by definition. It's a bit like, you know, if when it comes to like presenting evidence, if the Queen you can't basically call the Queen a liar. If she goes and says, what I've said here is definitely 1% true, because she represents the sort of the figurehead of law in the UK, it's a given that whatever she said must be true.
Oh, god damn it.
So, yeah, she could go up there and say, you know, aliens are real, and they're, like, living here, and that's it. That's true at that point, if it was in a court of law. The same reason she doesn't need a driving licence. Because indirectly she issues them.
Same reason she doesn't have, like, she doesn't have ID, she just pulls out a 50.
Yeah. Yeah, but it has to be a newish 50, because she's got older.
How dare you, she'll be young forever.
Yeah, I think Charles Roy she's going to live forever. You know, at what point do you start thinking these people claim that the royal family are all reptilians? What point do you think that maybe they have a point?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you know, let's be fair, mate. They can afford all the good medical shit. They can afford all the stuff that doesn't exist yet. I mean, exactly. Exists to us.
All the stuff they keep hidden. I'm pretty sure that the Queen got a place with a robot duplicate about 30 years ago.
Why doesn't that reminds me of a Disney film?
Oh, that's the
Great Mouse
Detective.
Detective.
Great Mouse Detective.
Yeah, Great Mouse Detective.
Great Mouse Detective, that was it. Mouse Detective is definitely different.
See, yeah. There you go. Disney, fucking nailed it.
Yeah,
That was a warning.
that was documentary,
Hard fact.
but hidden, but disguised as a animated film.
And that's why, because so many people missed it. That's why we're doomed as a species.
Yeah. It's it's very Queen never does a live interview. They're all pre-recorded because they've got the program in the motions. It's a bit like, have you seen when you see like Boston Dynamics and their robots? They do all the dancing and stuff. It's all there, but they program it in. The robots don't do it dynamically.
I
So-
thought the Queen was like a deep fake.
It's a combination. So she's Boston Dynamics sort of body. You know, they basically got on the Atlas robots, just put like sort of a frilly dress on it and a hat, and then they deep fake the face onto her.
It's terrifying.
It is.
Next, there'll be like the Queen iPhone app. So it'll just be some random geezer just sat in front of, like, sat with an iPhone.
It's a text-to-speech engine. You just type in what you wanted to say, and it automatically calculates how to do it properly.
That's terrifying. That's
Yeah.
one day that'll be a thing. I'm sure she said enough for
Oh,
people to go.
I'm sure she's prime material for deep fake. As you say, there's enough video footage and audio footage of her.
What's likely to get me
lobbed?
lobbed in the tower if I... would I get thrown in the tower if I said, now go and check out Lizzie's Pornhub channel? Queen of England porn available at
Pornhub.com.
Pornhub.com.
Saying that won't get you thrown in the tower. I think setting one up on her behalf might get you thrown into
What
the
if it's
tower.
already there? Then they'll say,
Well,
that
if
was
it's
him,
already
and I'll go,
there,
that
it's
had
not-
nothing to do with me.
I don't think there's a law, unlike other types of pornography, I don't think there's a law that if you happen to look at it, you can get in trouble for it.
No, I'm saying, like, what if they'll say that I set it up? Because, you know, I've just said that it's a thing. And they
Very
want to,
ignorant.
clearly
You
they
know
want to
nothing
silence
about-
round nerds, because...
We know the truth.
Exactly. Because it's not actually a
Very-
deep fake, it's really Lizzie.
Yeah, feign ignorance, you know, just sort of say, I don't know if you've got computers. You know, I don't know how to set up the interweb.
I don't know how to computer.
I don't know computer.
I don't know how to input output.
I get my son to come and sort it out for me.
Oh, you don't get this
I
input.
don't do all that internet thing.
What is it, IOT? What is that about me? Anyway.
Anyway, what have you been up to then, Skazz?
Well, nothing, actually, because I rage quit a game on stream.
Nice.
So I've took a week off.
Which game did you rage quit?
Doom Eternal.
Really?
I went back to Doom Eternal.
Have you done that, play for Doom Eternal already?
Yeah, I did. I played it and I rage quit. I got really raggy with it because it wasn't Doom to me. Doom Eternal to me is not Doom. And I know that there are so many people out there that gush over Doom Eternal. It's the greatest Doom ever. But to me, Doom 2016 is the greatest Doom ever. Well, other than Doom 1, but the trouble with Doom Eternal is they threw in way too many new mechanics. And while someone will go to me, get good scrub, and I admit flat out I am shit at Doom Eternal, it doesn't feel Doom-like to me.
No. Doom is a fast-paced, simple game.
Well, it's fast-paced, and it's simple once you get your head around the new mechanics. But the new mechanics don't seem to... They don't fit to me. You know, oh, hey, so examples, and I've already had this rant about Doom Eternal. You've got a flamethrower. Use the flamethrower as a secondary weapon. It's on cooldown. When the enemies burn, when you shoot them, they drop armor shards. That's how you get your armor up regularly in Doom Eternal. You've also got grenades on cooldown, which can be like a freeze to stop mobs from, like, trash mobs from coming and aggroing you, or like getting right up in your face and you getting overwhelmed. And you've also got the ability now to take out enemy weak points. So, like, certain enemies have, like, I can't remember what the enemies are called now, but, like, you'll have enemies with quite clear, like, gun arms, guns mounted on their backs or whatever. And if you shoot out those, you do big damage and take away their ability to cause big damage to you. but just it doesn't feel right. I'm micromanaging all these different things that I never had to worry about in Doom. Like, Doom 2016, Doomslayer is this crazy overpowered motherfucker that runs around at high speed battering the fuck out of everything. Right? At the start of Doom Eternal, I swear, if I fucking look at someone funny, they come in and kick my teeth in. Like, Doomslayer feels like he's lost all this power because I have to micromanage all of these different things. So, like, if I don't take out the enemy's weak spot, they steamroll me. If I don't use the flamethrower, well, it's really awkward to get armor, I get steamrolled. They added in the fucking stupid monkey bar mechanics. Literally, monkey bar. It's in the fucking, it's in the thing. I know Doomslayer's a bit of a gorilla, right? But they put in loads of extra mobility into Doom Eternal. And anyone saying, oh, but fucking Doom 2016 had jumping stuff in it. Yeah, it did, but nowhere near to the fucking level of Doom Eternal. So you've got your double jump, you've got an air dash, and you can climb up certain walls. Okay? I don't mind the double jump. I don't mind the air dash. The climbing up walls is fucking stupid. It's really stupid. Right? When the fuck did Doomslayer become Spider-Man? And I don't mind the air dash in arena combat. However, when I'm having to double jump and fly through the air like a high-speed fucking orangutan, right, to get from arena across like whatever this area is to the next arena, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. Like, and everyone says to me, oh, well, that's just because you're a scrub. You just want shooty, shooty, bang, bang, no thinking, brain turned off, job done.
Isn't
Like,
that kind of the point of Doom?
that's what I thought. They're like, oh, you just want old Doom. It's like, yeah. That's why I bought Doom. Because I just want to run around like some overpowered fucking monster and just destroy everything. If I wanted to get one shot, I'd play like a realistic. I'd play like fucking Armor or.
If they played the latest Call of Duty, if they bought the latest Call of Duty and they got it and loaded it up and it turned out to be a top-down RTS game, they'd probably be quite pissed.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But for some reason, players like myself, we're just considered scrubs because we don't get it. We just don't get it. Now, I will admit, again, I am shit at it. I'm very bad at it. You look at Doom 2016, I can steamroll that game. But Doom Eternal, I'm fucking terrible. And I can't navigate that map to save my fucking life. It's like, right, so I can go... One of the arguments people have is like, oh, what they have is like the map is really obvious. And I'm like, where you have to go is really obvious if you're looking at where the area is that's opening up. So let's say, for example, to the northeast, after you clear an area, an arena, northeast, you'll see like an animation start to happen as like a cave opens up. Right? But if you're not looking in that direction, when that shit happens, it can be a bit awkward, even when you use the map. And it's really quite deceptive as well how far Doomslayer can travel with jumps. Because Doomslayer literally flies through the fucking air. Like a bird, mate. Like, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, I can't make that jump. Why would I go that way? There's nothing there.
To be fair, Mars is quite low gravity.
Well, first off, the Doom Eternal takes place on Earth.
Does it really?
Yes.
Oh, then they ain't got that excuse.
Well, because it's Doom 2, isn't it? Effectively. But then that's what everyone else says. Well, Doom 2 was really different from Doom 1. It's like, mate, I don't remember all about Doom 2. I still remember running around like a madman shooting the shit out of everything. I don't remember double jumps and fucking magic abilities to get armor to spawn and all that kind of crap. So how the fuck you can say that Doom Eternal is just Doom 2 with a bit of spice tossed in? You're full of it.
It's just, at the end of the day, you know, there's enough game types out there. Everybody can have a game for a certain style of game. But you don't have to sort of like direct it towards a certain homogenized version.
See,
You don't have to have all these weird. You don't have to say, well, everything's got to become a sort of complicated sort of shit. No, it doesn't. It can just be.
It's not hugely complicated. It was just annoying because I was micromanaging things that I didn't expect I'd have to do.
That's so anti-Doom.
Yeah.
Doom's about just picking up a gun and shooting. I mean, I'm quite happy if Doom had virtually had infinite ammo. You
don't have it. You have to use the chainsaw to get ammo.
Yeah, but wouldn't be? But that's really what Doom in my mind should almost be. Just just whatever you want, just blast around things, having fun.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what Doom 2016 was. Right? In Doom Eternal, very little ammo, which you replenish by using the chainsaw on enemies. And you'll be doing it a lot early on. Now, I know it's not that big of a deal, because there's lots of cannon fodder enemies that you can just chainsaw to get ammo, but it's another thing that I have to micromanage when I'm in an arena.
Yeah.
And I don't like it.
It's not Doom at the end of the day. It's not what Doom games are about.
Now, I then rage quit because I got lost on a map, and I don't get lost in Doom. So my mate DeWald, you know DeWald, hates Doom 2016 because he can't navigate. He can't navigate Doom 2016 at all. He just can't do it. And I couldn't understand how he got lost all the time. I felt like DeWald playing Doom Eternal. I just couldn't fucking figure it out. My poor little brain just kind of disintegrated. And I didn't know what the fuck to do. So I rage quit on stream because I must have died like 1,000,000 times on stage 3. And got lost like 1,000,000 times because there's loads of air dashing and fucking, double jump, air dash into this telly, which launches you into the air, where you then have to spin around 180 and then air dash at a wall, climb that, jump and air dash again to another wall. Not Doom. I mean, fuck, man. There's more air dashing in Doom Eternal than there is in an anime fighting game. And they're called air dashers, for fuck's sake. Right?
Yeah.
So I rage quit the fucking game, and I was like, "This is bullshit." I didn't want to stream anymore. I just gave up. I just shut down my stream, put down my control pad, and I was like, I got into a really nasty mood that day. I was like, "Fuck, man! I feel pathetic. I feel old. I'm bitter. I can't do this. Does that mean my skills are fucking numb? Because apparently I can't hit a target to save my fucking life." I can't micromanage all these other buttons. Like, this is, what the fuck am I, an old man? Like, being held, like, given Mario for the first time. Like, 2 buttons? What the fuck am I supposed to do? I'm used to having a joystick with a button on it.
You've become that guy in, like, all the sports films where, like, you have someone come who's, like, sits at the bar who, like, used to be, like, contender and sort of, like, gives, like, the new young athlete sort of like, sage advice.
I felt like it. I fucking felt like it. I'm the guy that used to...
At some point, in some future world, there's going to be something like an arcade somewhere. There's going to be some kid who's like sort of wants to go and compete in some tournament, and he's like pretty fed and he sort of needs a bit of a pep talk, and you'll be sat in the corner, and you've always been there, and they just assumed you're the guy who just comes in and drinks all day. But actually, you used to be... They say, he used to be a champion, and you'll go and give some awful sage words of wisdom and cheer him on, and sort of... I can see it now.
Mate, it was I do feel that old sometimes. Even when I'm playing games with the kids, I feel fucking old and feeble. And I was like, "What the fuck, mate?" I used to be the guy that would fucking be flying through the air in like Quake 3 Arena and just wrecking people in UT, with the exception of my mate Bros and Sparky. They would just wreck my shit. But like, you've played me in first-person shooters.
Yeah.
In arcadey, just fucking bullets everywhere shooters, I'm alright.
You are.
Right?
You're not better than me.
But in fucking Doom Eternal, I got wrecked hardcore. And like I said, I was bitter, I was fucking angry, and I've literally taken like a week or so off playing games. No streams, no games, fucking nothing, mate. I was like, I don't want to touch this shit. I did go into Doom Eternal off stream, and I was like, because there's a level select. There's a hub world in Doom Eternal now.
Right.
A hub world. What the fuck? Right? So, I went back in, and there's a stage select. Right? And you can unlock weapons. So when you unlock your weapons, like your level 3 might give you the rocket launcher, or you might get like the gauze cannon or whatever from one of the other levels. You can go back and take it through and like wreck the shit out of all these enemies. And you level up Doomslayer as well when you pick up like shards and all this kind of stuff. So you can upgrade your health, you can upgrade your armor, you can upgrade your ammo, like your ammo capacity and stuff. When you get some of those stat points, right, so you get a little bit more health as your max, a little bit more armor as your max, you can carry a little bit more ammo than normal. As soon as you get like 4 or 5 levels worth of gear, and then go back through those first few levels that were absolutely tedious and fucking mind-numbing, the game's a right fucking laugh.
Yeah.
But until you make Doomslayer overpowered like Doomslayer should fucking be, the game is a tedious fucking mess, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Shut up, old man! Get with the times! It's like people who role-play in Grand Theft Auto. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Grand Theft Auto is a serious game, mate.
Yeah, I want to I'll play as a civilian and just wander around.
And there are people who do. It's terrifying. But yeah, so I rage quit. So I haven't played any games. I played like an hour and a half of Doom Eternal and was just like, nope, this is shit. Fuck it. The game is still shit. Fuck it. And it put me off playing games for a week or so.
I've quit games like this, just off games for a long time.
It was stupid. It's terrible. And just everyone else, the general consensus is, if you don't like the new mechanics, you're just a shit Doom player. I was like, but that's not what I bought Doom for.
No. There's loads of other games that have those sort of like mechanics built into it and so forth. Doom's meant to be just a run around insane. It's like Doom. It's just an arcade run around shooter that shouldn't be. You should be doing over the top ridiculous things, but not having to worry about resource management.
Yeah,
that's not the point.
And at the start of Eternal, there's a lot of resource management.
Yeah,
a lot of resource management.
The next Doom will be a third-person cover-based shooter.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, but wasn't that Doom 3 already? That's where it's going to go. Because if they do like the Doom 2016 spin on Doom 3, that's what it's going to be.
Oh, I hate Doom 3.
I thought it was all right. I mean, that was the resourcey management psych horror Doom.
They tried to make it more
atmospheric.
Yeah, they tried. The trouble was they tried to make it more survival horror-esque, with the sort of still mad Doom bits of it, and there's a lot of things I liked about Doom 3. I like the fact that how the world felt really. I mean, it was a very pretty game for its time. It's very pretty, very, and the computer interface were magic at the time. They were just like, wow, that's a thing. Incredible game for what it was, but I got frustrated because I found it. I used to go into an area and it's like I didn't like this walk at the speed you moved at. I thought you moved way too slowly.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the fact that whenever you went into an area, you could just immediately look at the area and I just instantly knew
where the enemies were going to come from.
There. I just knew what the game designer had planned before it happened, and it just all cheapened it, and it didn't let me be anyway smart. So like, there's some bits where you could pick bits and pieces up, and I found like some areas where I knew the small things were going to crawl through. So I thought I'll try and be clever and block them off. And you've created a game where it has like sort of the flashlight mechanics, so it has tried to make that more sort of survival horror-y thing. But then it doesn't let you be clever because that didn't work.
Yeah, it
doesn't let you be clever about it. It just says no, you have to do this bit. I finished it, but I was sort of playing it to finish it, not because I wanted to finish it, not because I just want to get it done and out of the way.
Yeah.
So I really disliked Doom 3.
Doom 3. So I didn't actually play Doom 3 through normally. No. I played Doom 3 with a mod called Last Man Standing, which added in a co-op mode.
Yeah.
So I played it through co-op with a couple of my mates, and that was fucking great.
I could see it making a big difference. Because single player is almost like it felt more like. It felt more like they definitely tried to make it more like a survival horror game, and
yeah,
and I think there was actually they could have pulled it off. certain things I quite like. I quite like the atmosphere of having to sort of like use your flashlight or your gun. That was quite neat, a neat idea.
Yeah.
But then when sort of hit does the fan, you just so many things are thrown at you. It's like a completely different game. As like it wanted to be two different things at once, and if they'd gone more to the route of let's make, I'd rather have less enemies at me, but each enemy is a bit more tougher and have to be a bit more smart about it because that's how the rest of the game sort of played itself.
Yeah.
Then the other all just go full madness, so pick one or the other rather than this weird
Middle ground.
in between, which is why I just didn't get on with it. But I couldn't find how pretty it looked. It looked absolutely amazing.
Yes, but it's for the time, yes. And that was at the same.
Yeah.
It was at the time when they were remaking a lot of their classic IPs, wasn't it? Because Quake had just had a new game, where they completely flipped it on its fucking head. Doom 3 Doom 3 came up before Quake, didn't it? The new Quake. They changed up all of their major IPs. Not always for the better though.
No.
I don't know. Like I said, Doom Eternal's alright once you're an OP killing machine. Like you should be. Just stupid.
Yeah.
And I just felt like if it was Overwatch or Paladins where I had to micromanage different resources in a team-based game, fine. But in Doom? No. It's not an objective shooter, it's an arena shooter.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, monkey bar my way around, shitty corridors and mazes to get to the next arena. It just didn't feel right.
No.
It just wasn't Doom to me. It looked impressive, and the extra mobility was great in the arenas when you were shooting people, but just not in between it. Nothing.
No.
It was horrible. Absolutely horrible. And the user interface still looks like it was made by a fucking intern. I'm sorry, it looks shit. Absolutely terrible. Old man shouting at clouds.
Interface sorted out.
So fucking, I quit the game, and I don't know, I like Doom. It's bad. It's really, really fucking. It's really bad. So I've decided I'm going to take a couple of weeks off. We're going to hopefully finish Valheim Tuesday. Hopefully.
I really want to finish Valheim Tuesday.
Yeah.
I really do.
I've set us up a telly to the boss.
Good.
And got us all the stuff we needed. And hopefully we can get that fucking done, so I never have to look at that game ever again.
Yeah.
Ever a fucking again. And then I can start playing East 9.
Yeah. Yeah, Valheim is just too... It's too grindy for my liking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't...
It wouldn't... I will be honest,
Basically, I've done most of the grind. You and Mateo have done most of the grind.
That's my point. It wouldn't have been grindy if there were more of us there. Because when we were all together, we steamrolled huge sections of that map.
Yeah.
But say just one or two of us doing it takes so long because you have to get mats for extra people and extra equipment. And because you can only carry so much as a solo, it takes so much longer to get shit done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not ideal. Have we decided what we want to play next?
I know, we sort of bounced a couple of ideas around. We did talk about doing Dead Island next, but I'm not sure if that was actually set in stone.
I have no idea. But I've put a lot of stuff on the list. Maybe people could vote.
I'll have a look.
Because we probably won't finish Valheim this Tuesday, so by the time this episode goes up, someone can go, play that one.
Yes, I'm sure we can sort of work something out.
What have you been playing, Ram?
Well, so, again, I've had to, first things first, I'm going to have to cancel my Xbox subscription.
Oh?
Because the install is so fucked, I cannot get it to work again. I have tried every troubleshooting thing I can find. I've reset God knows how many things, uninstalled so many things, rebooted, updated, done everything I can possibly get. I cannot get the launcher to launch anymore, and I cannot even reinstall it anymore.
As I said to you, there are regular bugs in the Windows 10 store,
Yeah.
and 9 times out of 10, the only realistic way to fix them without wasting a million years is reinstall Windows, nuke and repave.
And frankly, at this stage, I'm not prepared to do that.
Sure.
So I'm going to have to cancel it because I just it's a Windows bit of software. It should fucking work.
And it doesn't. Well, if you remember, that's the reason why I stopped playing Phantasy Star. Because you'd install it from the Windows 10 store. It would have a very small download to start with, which would then fire up a launcher, which would download even more of the game, which is standard for MMOs, right? And then something would happen, like a Windows update would happen, or a Windows Store update would happen, and it would corrupt the launcher.
Yep.
And then no matter what you did from that point on, you couldn't get the game to work. And then you'd be shit out of luck. And I was like, right, and that was like a 70 gig game at the time, or thereabouts, and it would take ages to download. So you'd delete it, you'd try and reinstall it, you'd spend ages getting all that, you'd spend ages to play it, and then within, say, maybe 2 days, you wouldn't be able to play it again. Have to potentially reinstall Windows again. Then reinstall, only to have it fail again in less than a week.
Yeah.
It was complete bullshit, so I just stopped.
Yeah.
The only thing I play on the Windows 10 store now, Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
Even icons for programs you install from the Windows 10 store. You know, in your Windows bar. They break.
I know. Yeah, they do. They do. I find it incredible that third parties somehow have managed to can write software that just works on their operating system, yet Microsoft on their own operating system can't make a bit of software work.
Yeah.
It's just, I just don't get how you do that, how you make something that impossible to run. To the point where you can't even reinstall the darn thing. Literally, you cannot install it. And it doesn't give you any error message. It just freezes and that's it.
Yeah, like you can click it and it'll do the animation thing to say in the taskbar or whatever to say that it's going to do something.
Oh no!
And then it will just go away.
I get as far as you want to install. First, we need to click to accept the terms and services and click install. You click to accept terms and services, click on install. No, that's it. That's it. Nothing happens.
So what did you try and install this time that caused it to break?
I tried to install. What was I tried to download a game. I can't remember which game. I think it was.
It was Limbo last time.
It was Limbo, but I didn't get any further from there. I've been trying since then to try and get it to work.
Can you still launch games that you had installed before, like Mech Warrior and?
Nope, don't launch. It's absolutely fucked.
Beautiful.
It's totally, because it just actually totally 1% fucks. I can't do it via the Windows Store. I've tried resetting the Windows Store. I've tried so many different hacks and so forth, said, and run scripts to run that delete certain things. That's all make it work. There's like one person who came up with a solution that was like 20 steps long.
So what you're saying is your Windows install is effectively a fucking minefield right now.
Yeah, I was at the stage where like, okay, I've tried everything, and there's just no Microsoft support is just rubbish. They've got no real answer to this.
Oh, I agree. If I have a problem and I can't figure it out, if I search and it comes up with like a Microsoft help page, like help.microsoft.com or whatever it is, or I flat out just ignore it. It's like, never have I seen an actual answer to a problem on those pages, ever. I'll find everything else. It's like, you know those Muppets when you call up, I don't know, there's like a telemarketer on the thing and they're just reading through the script. Or you do call support and there's like, have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done that? What about this? And you've already done all of that because those are standard steps.
Yeah.
And you're like, do you honestly think like that is an actual fix to my problem? Can you help me? Well, that's everything on the thing. And then it's done.
No.
That is how the Microsoft fucking support pages are. Just ignore them.
I think every time I've used Microsoft support on pages, I've gone on there, and the people who aren't from Microsoft but just have already solved the problem usually have a simpler solution to the one that the Microsoft people come up with, or one that actually works.
Mm-hmm.
When I had an issue with my PC, I kept finding my PC would just randomly switch itself on. I like put it to sleep or switch it off, and I'd come in next day and it had been switched on, and it would switch itself on like 3 a.m. in the morning.
Mm.
and that took a bit of digging to work out what was going on. Basically, it was like running like
Windows updates and idle hours.
Yeah, yeah, but you couldn't really switch. They basically said in the support you can't switch these off. And then I sort of dug a bit deeper. So I said, and then literally like next paragraph down, someone explained who wasn't from Microsoft how to switch them off.
So, do you just turn off your monitor, or do you shut down your entire PC?
I shut down my PC now. I used to put it to sleep, but now I shut the whole PC down.
Sure, okay. Because we spoke last time about how I sorted out my PC, and literally now the only thing that seems to cause my PC any issues is when I turn off my display.
Oh, cool.
So if my PC's running, and I shut off the display, not all the time, but say maybe 3 in 5. If I leave the machine just idling for an hour or two and then go to turn on the display again, the machine would have blue screened, gone back to the login screen, and that's where I'll sit.
Oh, good.
And I'll be like, why? But that is the only thing that seems to make my machine crash now, if you turn off the display that it's connected to. Which is kind of annoying, because I kind of like to turn off my displays. Oh, and it also does it if Windows makes the display go to sleep.
What about there are sometimes you get a bit of software that's sort of like temperate for like split seconds, which your display off. I've had that before, where it's like sort of knock the graphics out, and I've had that before. Have you anything like that, issue like that at all?
No, it's just literally that the machine just shits the bed when you try to turn back on the display. It doesn't like having the display turned off. If you leave the display on all the time, so if I just leave it idling, just sat here, nothing. It just does its thing. But as soon as you turn off this display, or if Windows, look in the power management settings, because by default Windows turns off your display after like 30 minutes or something, right? If you let that happen, or you turn off the display, 3 in 5, the machine will just shit the bed and reboot.
Lovely.
I'm just like, why? Because obviously you don't want to leave your display on all the time, because everyone freaks out about burning and stuff, which isn't. It's not a huge thing these days. Don't worry about it.
It's called a screensaver.
Yeah, but the screensavers, like, that's not really a thing in Windows 10, because they're not on by default.
No.
Windows 10, by default, would rather turn your display off than run a screensaver.
I can be honestly say I have never worried about turning off displays. I've never touched wood. I've never had any issues with burning.
No, neither have I. Generally, I mean, I've got one display that has a hissy.
Plasma TVs that had the problem.
It was plasma and CRTs. I've got a CRT in the garage that's fucking brutal. And like this monitor, I can leave it on a static screen for fucking ever. The TV next to me will leave it on a static screen forever. It's generally fine. But I would at least like to, I don't know, turn off my display if I don't need it on. Like, it would just be nice to, but Windows is a thing. And it's not a problem that's unheard of either. It's not just like me having it or me and a handful of other people. If you type it into Google, loads of people are having it. AMD, Nvidia, Intel, everyone's fucking having it. It's like, well, it could be your display. It could be your DisplayPort cable. Yeah, but I'm running HDMI. Well, it could be your HDMI cable. Well, I'm running on a laptop. I was like, well, fucking, I don't know. It's like, piss off, Microsoft support. So what are you going to do? So you're just going to leave it then? You're not... Because aren't there apps on your machine that require updates through the Microsoft Store?
Can't think of any apart from the Xbox one. No, because I haven't got any. I've never. I think until I had the Xbox, I'd never opened the Microsoft Store up.
Oh, interesting. Well, there you go.
Oh, it's just no. I've not had any. Yeah, it's just fucked.
I don't understand why you were using the Microsoft app, the Xbox app anyway.
Well, because I went to sign up for Xbox. I said download the app, so I did.
Yeah, but you don't have to use that to.
Yeah, well, I ran it afterwards, and then I tried to run it for the Microsoft Store, and that didn't work either. So I'm fucked on both fronts.
Yeah, there you go.
Microsoft Store loads. I can click onto a game page, Like as soon as I try to either click play on something that's already installed or install, boom, gone, freeze.
That's insane.
It's ridiculous. And enough. I did a full reset on it, which is meant to delete everything off it, like all your details, all your signings, everything.
Nope.
No, I log in. It still says I'm all signed in. It's still got my login details on it. It's like, well, you quite clearly haven't deleted all the data, then have you?
Yeah, but isn't that tied into your Windows account that you signed in with when you installed Windows 10?
Yeah. Then it's possibly that could be the problem. Why isn't it disconnected everything? Why isn't it disconnected itself? So, well, you need to sign in. You've got an ID. Do you want to sign in that ID? Yes.
Well,
okay,
no, because you don't have to sign
in.
into the Windows 10 store
Well,
when you installed Windows, you installed it and gave it a Microsoft ID, which most people do. By default, the Xbox store or the Windows 10 store and Skype and all of the Microsoft services are automatically signed in. Yeah. So even if you were to clear the caches, it wouldn't matter because it's already using your Microsoft ID for everything else. It already knows what it is. You don't have to sign in. It's there.
Yeah.
It's only if you set an offline account up when you install Windows that you'd have to then manually log in to the Windows 10 store.
Yeah. It's also in my opinion. It's just treat it like a fresh thing.
Yeah, well, you'd expect that, but I'm just
synchronize itself up.
I'm just saying that the asking you to log in isn't going to be a thing.
No, I get that. I think that a full reset should like load and go. Hey, I've just started like almost like for the first time in my life. You've got an account. I'm now going to sign into that account because I'm going to treat it like a completely fresh existence rather than I'm already half signed in because that's clearly not. It's either so ingrained into the operating that it can't do that, which is why you then can't necessarily do any real repairs. You can't uninstall the Microsoft Store.
Well, no, you can't. I mean, like,
no, it's too ingrained. So it means it's hard to do any sort of repair on it. The only thing I haven't tried is a Windows repair. I suppose the only option I could try is see if I can get it. Yeah, but I'm not keen on doing that.
Personally, I just have all of my important data on drives that aren't my C drive.
Oh yeah.
And then if I need to nuke Windows, there's nothing on my C drive. It doesn't matter. It takes like 30 seconds to reinstall Windows and sign into my Microsoft account. Yeah. And then it's just a case of just downloading the stuff from the Windows 10 store that I want to use, and everything else just sits on, D drive or whatever.
I don't have anything on my C drive because I've only got a little half terabyte M2 C drive anyway. I'm at the stage like it's just not worth the hassle. It's at the stage that's like this much work I've solved the problem. It's frankly bullshit, and I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
I agree with you. Just it would annoy me that it would be broken.
If you can't make it work, then screw you. It's what you're literally you have got an entire part of your company that's a software division. Make it work.
They can't because they outsource testing to general public.
Yeah, well, that's their problem, and I will vote with my wallet because it's a shame because it's a really good deal. Mm-hmm. But I want to vote my wallet. I'm just going to cancel my account. Say sorry, you've lost me. And when if it asks me why, I'm going to say your software's crap. Yeah. I'll say it and say I've tried to reinstall it. Everything I've tried has not worked. Your tech support's rubbish. Screw you. If you can't make it work, why should I?
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
So
it's not like you're running Linux where
no,
you fuck around with the config file and you've screwed up everything.
Yeah. Yeah, but Linux when you have a Linux operating system, you half expect to fuck up at some point.
Oh yeah, for sure. But that's what I'm saying. It's not like you're running software from a multi-billion corporation whose prime existence is this operating system. Yeah. It's made by a tight-knit team in all in the same fucking building. You'd think by now they could get this shit to work. And all of the telemetry in that, they should know what all these issues are.
That probably doesn't fucking work either.
Probably fucking not.
It probably tells me if you've got a bit of like illegal software on your machine, but it doesn't tell them that the store doesn't bloody load.
I mean, it still annoys me that I see adverts on my login screen.
Yeah.
When I've paid for Windows.
it annoyed me when adverts when stuff used to appear in your start menu.
Yeah, well, it still does.
I'm not sure you said, but is my Windows still their biggest income? I thought they'd switched. I thought Xbox was their biggest income money wise.
Probably. Well, I mean, you got to think they were giving away Windows for a time, weren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, if you know, they said how you had a very brief window to update from Windows.
What, the brief 14 months
till well, brief. But they, you know, you can't just say I want my free upgrade now. Like you can't launch Windows 8 and get that free upgrade thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, they don't give you a little pop up if you just I've got machines sat here with Windows 7 keys on them, right? Like on the sticker, the auth key. This is your certificate of authenticity with your Windows serial on it. If you install Windows 10 and just type in that key, bam, you're up and running.
Yeah.
Like, they don't make. I don't think they probably do. Just pretend I'm right here. They don't make money on Windows 10 because there are so many Windows 7 keys out there and Windows 8 keys out there. You've already got one. If you buy a laptop, you've already got a license. And those licenses, you can buy a license for Windows for like fucking 12 quid from pretty much anywhere. They're not making a lot of money on this. You're probably right in saying that the money maker for them is Xbox. And same with and like Office, their Office 365 subscription and stuff like that. They're moving into services, aren't they? They want you to have a subscription for Xbox and what the fuck is their cloud thing?
Azure? No, that's not.
No, that's their server side stuff.
Yeah.
1 second. OneDrive, Microsoft OneDrive, and Office, and Xbox. The subscriptions. That's where they're making that's where they want to make their money. But on the PC side, a lot of that stuff ain't gonna work if Windows is bust. So get it sorted. But then Sony's the same. Sony's major moneymaker is the PlayStation. If it weren't for these consoles, these companies would be fucked. Because think about all the people that do actually bin off Windows because they don't have to use it. Like, oh, well, you know, if I just want to look at porn, I'll just get my Mac. Or use my... Think about how many people don't actually own PCs anymore.
So, according to what I found out, Microsoft last year earned £38 billion, dollars, sorry.
How?
Of which 12.4 billion that was Xbox.
Oh.
The rest was split between productivity software, cloud software, last thing had other personal computing. So that'll be like the Surface Pros and stuff, won't it?
People actually buy those?
People do, yeah. Productivity and business processes was 11.8 billion. Personal computing was 12.9, which I might include Xbox. And I don't know how they're breaking this down. Cloud was 13, so yeah, it looks like Xbox makes up a significant portion of their revenue. I think you actually got broke down to actually how much does Windows bring. I think Xbox would easily be the main winner.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just licensing makes it expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, after the Xbox woes, so I had to go back to Steam. So I dug from the Steam library, saw what was on there. And I found this game called Escape Legacy Ancient Scrolls, which is probably one of the worst names for a game possible, because it literally tells you absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's got ancient scrolls in it. I can confirm there are ancient scrolls in Escape Legacy Ancient Scrolls. I had fun with it. But I've got so many gripes with it that when I describe to you, it's going to sound absolutely shit. But I still had fun with it.
Okay.
So it's
like Doom Eternal.
Yeah, it's an escape room game. It's 10 levels and you are trapped in an area and you have to escape. An escape room. And you have to find clues and puzzles and so forth to work your way out of the room. It's a little indie game. I mean, it's pretty tiny. I'm looking at the Steam page now. There's only Well, I'll show you how sort of tied all games was and Unknown's games. How Long to Beat doesn't have an entry for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they do. There's no data on it at all. It's got 48 reviews on Steam, and I got to the last level, and there's a leaderboard, and I was like 1600th in the leaderboard,
Oh,
and
there
I
you
wasn't
go.
very good. So it's not. We're not from a massive game. It probably did all right for them. So Steam game. So it's yeah. See, there's 10 levels. You have to and basically find clues and so forth. It's got quite a lot of problems with it from the off go. So I couldn't play it on. It's released in 2018. I couldn't play it on Ultra because if I did instantly, it crashed immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I literally somewhere between 0 seconds and 30 seconds into the first level, it just crash. I'll just get an error message.
Mm-hmm.
Drop it down to high, worked fine.
Have you thought of checking the anti-aliasing options? Because I've had that with
There
all the
aren't
games.
Right, these are the settings, okay? Your settings for your graphics are low, medium, high, ultra. Your settings for resolution, is low, medium, high, ultra. So, yeah. So it's like, well, how do I change resolution? What? That doesn't make sense. So it assumes you've got just normal widescreen. So it worked on ultra wide. It sorted itself out. It wasn't stretched or anything. It was right. But all the sort of in-game menus got top and bottom got cut off because it was trying to fit a 16:9 image.
It didn't scale it correctly.
It didn't scale, but it's trying to fit an image. It's expected for. It's expected mine was a big widescreen. It wasn't. It's like, okay, that's a bit weird. So I mean, I said indie game. I thought I'll give it a little bit of a thing, but it's built on Unreal Engine, and Unreal Engine's got soft stuff built in to make that easy to do.
Let's be fair though, Ram. You are kind of a ultra wide gamers. There
aren't many of us about, no, but then when you're using an engine that built in has support for it, at least let me have the option to pick a resolution.
Yeah.
Rather than just say low, medium, high. Because what does that mean? What is low, medium, high? What does that equate to?
Nothing.
I'm assuming that means nothing. It's meaningless. But I say, UE4's got all this built in to make this easy for you.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's there because I've used it. So,
yeah. See, I was an ultra wide gamer 6 years ago. And it was such a pain in the ass that I was just like, it's not worth it.
I would have a lot of trouble. There aren't many games I have trouble with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's still, I'm just saying as an example. I'm just saying it's one of those things. It hasn't scaled it properly. That's not the end of the world. Honestly, it's an annoyance rather than actual. Honestly, I'm saying a lot of things. I enjoy. Don't get me wrong, I like the game. But there's a lot of things I'm going to say here which sound like shit, but they're not. They're more annoyances than anything else.
Well, let's put it this way. If I only had an ultra-wide monitor and I was already running into issues like you did, I'd have just turned the game off. Because I'm not as forgiving as you when it comes to PC gaming.
No. I mean, I could still use the button. I could access the buttons I need to do, so I sort of let it pass. So I was like, okay, I'll put up with that aside. This is really just... This is more... And the thing is, the actual main menu is correct. Mm-hmm. The main menu positions all the icons correctly. It's the in-game menu that's wrong.
Interesting.
So, actually, that's not true. The pause menu is correct. It's like the end-of-game sort of menu that comes up is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So it's clearly half correct. They've set up properly. And I know what they've done. It's all to do with the anchoring. I know what they've done. They've just not properly set it up. It's just I don't know how big this team is. I don't feel not a very big team. I mean, for it's came out in 2018. It actually looks all right. It looks far better than a lot of other games that came out in 2018 from indies. It looks actually quite nice. It's got, I mean, you've got a full-on character model, proper character model who does move and is animated. Even though it's first person, you can see yourself moving about animated, so that works round. I get the feeling they intended for this to be VR because there's your inventory menu. When you open it up, it sort of appears like floating in the environment rather than on your screen. And generally speaking, you only really see that in VR games. Mm-hmm. That's sort of like it appears in the actual environment, also because you look at it round and so forth. So I get the feeling this was intended to be a VR game at one point, and they either scrapped it at some point, or they sort of like got half of the inside, they just weren't going to revert back. That's my suspicion anyway, because I could see how it feels like it was designed to work in that environment. So yeah, basically, as you go around, you start. Puzzles are fairly straightforward. You do things like having to find codes. You get little riddles and have to work out what they mean. You have a time limit for each level, a bit like an actual escape room. You get like a default. Oh, second annoyance. Okay, so there are 10 levels.
Yeah.
And to get to the next level, you have to unlock. You have to play the previous level. That's logical. You have to unlock it. You also have to unlock the difficulty levels. So by default, the first thing you can play is level 1 easy. You have no choice to play it at normal or hard if you want. You have to play on easy first, and then that will unlock the normal version. Then you play normal, then play hard.
Yeah.
The only main difference between, the couple I've played at hard difficulties, the only big difference I've seen is the time limits get shorter, and you get a bonus for your score. So on easy, you get an hour per room. Hard, medium is 40, hard is 20. The time limit and you also get you basically, as you do things and get things, you get given a score. You get a score multiplier. So medium is 1.5 and hard is 2. It doubles your score.
Okay.
So wherever you score. So yeah, that's all the advantage of playing on hard level. So that's all promised to. So you play the game in game, and then you're sort of like, so the first one, like you end up you're in a corridor. You walk to like a corridor. There's a thing on the wall that's got 3 little parts to it, like sort of like a pyramid. It's got like 3 bits. You have to find the 3 parts to open the door. So you have to search room. You'll come across, and there's a lot of random. It's got a lot of random. Now, to its credit, there's a lot of randomization in the game. So all the core puzzle might be the same, but all the answers to it will be randomized. So codes and stuff for room will be, you have to find a bit of paper with the code on it. Well, that's randomized every time. Even things like position locations of keys and stuff will be randomized across the rooms. So you can't find that you have to find them in the same place every single time. So that's all gives it some degree of replayability. Even so, with that, once you know sort of the rough way you're going to go through it, you know how you're going to get through it. So the first time I played through level 1, probably took like 20 minutes. Second time I played it again on the hard difficulty level, it took me about 6 minutes. So the next third annoyance I have with it, a lot of the puzzles, you often come to a door that's got doors that are basically either locked with keys, or you might find a hidden lever, or they have like locks on. Lock will be like a digital lock with a keypad, which could be letters, it could be numbers. All they really like is these color locks. So like you have 4 buttons that as you click and they cycle through colors, and then you press enter. So you have to work out what the colors are for and the various colors.
Not a lot of help for me then.
Yeah, this is the exact problem I had because I'm colorblind, and there were several puzzles where it's like, okay, so there's like you have to even like the first one. Charles, they've picked colours that are so close to each other, so they've got like red and orange, and the orange looks very close to red. Yeah. When you're looking for like a small little bit, so there's one bit where you have to like find candles, and there's like different numbers of candles. Like you'll find 4 sets of candles around an area. One will have 1 candle, one will have 2 candles, one will have 3, and one will have 4 candles. That's your sequence, your numbers, and there'll be a little jar of them with a different colour in it. Well, when they've gone, that's fine. Okay, great, brilliant, fine doing that. But when you've then like thought, oh, it'd be nice to put this candle in a slightly darker area, when you're fucking colourblind, trying to work out what that colour is, it's a pain in the arse.
No, I agree.
So pretty much all the colour puzzles I had to basically, I say brute forcing, I had some knowledge that made it quicker, obviously, but I had to semi-brute force them to get through them, because I would put in what I thought were the correct colours, and it'd be wrong. Yeah. And then I'd end up brute forcing it, and once I finally get to it, it's like, oh, that's what what I thought was yellow is actually green. Yeah. And what I thought was orange is red, because they've gone for like pink and blue, orange and red, green and yellow. They're like really close to each other. And I thought they could have solved that if actually you put because your mouse cursor pops up with stuff and information safe as you walk around. If you solve it, so when you put your mouse cursor over whatever it said a red jar. Yeah. They would have solved that problem immediately, because you at least know what the color is. You at
Yeah.
least have solved that. That's to me, that's an easy fix,
Yeah.
relatively speaking, to make that work. Or that's third annoyance, fourth annoyance. So you walk up to a door, say, or something, or draw something. Your reticle will change to say like a door, so forth. But it does that before you're close enough to interact with it. So you walk up to a door and it'll say door, and then it'll say underneath, you need to get closer. So you have to work the next couple of steps closer before you can open it. And that's a real silly moment, but the amount of times I'd walk up to something, it just appear on the screen, oh, there we go, click, oh, I'm not close enough. It's like, don't tell me until I'm close enough to do it.
Yeah, sure.
You know, wait till I'm there and then tell me, because if it's telling me it's on there, it's pointless telling me that, oh, it's here, and I'm not actually close enough to use it. That's pointless. You know, tell me when I get close, or tell me the other side of the room. You know, one or the other. Don't do silliness of this in between. Also, the sort of idea of having, I like these sort of puzzle games where it's based on logic, clues, and so forth. I don't like it when it comes down to hunting a key, because again, same issue. Keys often hidden around, and they're quite dark. Some of them on a dark thing. If you're colourblind, they're hard to see.
Yeah.
One mission, I spent 25 minutes trying to find a key.
Yeah.
I was just scoring, and I eventually found it. I was scouring every single level looking for a key to unlock something that's got me to the next bit. And that's a frustrating. It becomes pixel hunting at that point. So it's got lots of little frustrating things about it. I did actually enjoy it. I mean, I played it. It took me about 7 hours to get through one way, and it's bloody cheap. I mean, it's £6.
Yeah, but did you buy it, or is this another one of those shitty Humble Bundle things?
I can't remember.
It's probably a Humble Bundle game.
I can't remember. I may have bought it. It's the sort of thing I probably would buy. If it came up on a Steam sale for like a couple of quid, I might well have bought it. I can't remember, to be honest, Skazz.
Fair that. I'm 9 times out of 10 when you come up with random jank indie game, my brain just instantly goes, "That's some kind of shit that you'd get from Humble Bundle."
Quite possibly. I've got a lot of jank indie games from Humble Bundle, to be fair.
Yeah,
Quite a few of them I already had anyway.
crap.
But I quite like janky games. And so yeah, it's such a weird thing. I actually did have fun with it, but there's so much things wrong with it that could do with a bit more work. And they said they're going to make a second one, but this is released in 2018, so it's been 3 years now. No sign of anything, so I suspect perhaps they disbanded. I think there might be like 3 people on the team. So, but actually, as someone's like India, it's better than a lot of other, to be fair, in terms of like some other stuff you see in Eternal Steam, it's better than most. It's better than a lot of games like that Eternal Steam, because it actually does sort of works. It's got some. It hasn't got much. It's a lot of the issues are game design issues rather than programming issues. I didn't have any apart from that issue with the crashing. In game, I had no real bugs. There was no sort of logic bugs I encountered. So a lot of issues are just like game design, which if you're on a small team, I can see game design issues tend to slip through because you ain't got that. You get sort of like invested in thinking what you've got is a good idea and it works. And you tend to sort of talk, if someone says, but someone might be an objection, you might tend to sort of talk it out.
Yeah.
Whereas bigger groups, bigger teams, or people create teams might actually say no, seriously. Because I would have, if they said, obviously, if you were a big company to create team, I'm sure they would have picked up the issue of the colour puzzles.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I mean, you're more likely to run into someone who's going to have issues seeing them too. Because if you're in a small team,
then you might have a problem.
Well, people might not have a problem, and because you all already know how the puzzles work, you're not going to see any problems. You're already invested. Like, well, because they're probably not handing it out to like 100 of their mates outside of the studio to test it.
No, of course not.
And if they are, they're probably kind of poking them and going, "Oh yeah, hey, check this out." Blah, blah, blah. And so even the people who are playing it have kind of a bias. They already know enough to kind of brute force their way through the puzzle. They already have a kind of an idea of how this stuff works. So unlike where normally a company would have a raw QA team who have no fucking idea how this stuff works and just go, "Here's our game, go," and you're like, "Oh, it's a blah, blah, whatever." And then they go, "Oh, I can't do this."
Yeah.
Then they take it back and refine it.
And a QA team is more likely to be, I say professional, more like to say, "Yeah, this is broken. You need to fix this." Whereas if you hand it to your mates to play through or test it, they don't. If they're your mates, they're not really going to say, "Yeah, mate, this bit's really shit."
Yeah. Well, that
They're
was
less
all right,
inclined
wasn't it?
yeah,
Even though it's
because
terrible.
yeah, and I mean, I think something like what 30% of the UK male population's got colour blindness, something like that. 20 to 30% of us. I think it's got
I don't
it's
know.
fairly common in men.
I mean, fucking you're colorblind. I'm shade blind, effectively colorblind.
Yeah.
You know, so that should tell you.
Yeah, but then if it's a small team, that probably didn't even cross their mind.
No, probably not.
Probably didn't cross their minds because if they all play, it's like, yeah, this works. Probably no one thought. I bet no one thought, hey, what colourblind people? Because let's face it, even now, even I've played plenty of AAA games
Oh yeah,
where
for
they
sure. You don't often see it.
where they make the radar red on black. It's like it's like
Bit of a
most
nightmare.
yeah. So it's surprising. Like I say, it's for £6. Actually, fair enough. It's actually I think it's okay if it's on sale and you like the idea of just like an escape room style game. It's a fun diversion for a few hours.
Yeah.
But just if you're colourblind, you are going to have problems. I still completed it. I still completed every. I didn't fail any of the rooms. I completed every room first time. I think the closest one I had 15 minutes left of the clock, and that was when I had to hunt the key for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
So I managed to get through all the rooms fairly straightforward. It just if they mess around, they just need a bit more focus. But yeah, it was all right. It's in the it's all right category of video games. There's nothing special. It's never going to be game of the year for anybody. But it's all right. It's fine.
Yeah.
So
Fair enough.
that's my game. I've also this week something launched this week.
Wait, something,
Warhammer,
a thing, a TV show, a game, what?
a bit of everything. Warhammer Plus launched this week.
Right?
So I spoke about it about 3 episodes ago.
Fuck, man, I don't know. It
Something
might
like
have
that,
been
I
a
think.
year ago, but you were excited.
No, it wasn't that. It only got announced announced like 2 months ago.
You were excited.
Yeah, it was such good value for money. So it's Games Workshop's new subscription service. You subscribe, you can either pay $4.99 a month or £50 for the year. If you do that, you get given a 3-minute show worth £25 straight off the bat. You get access to all their animations they're now producing. You get access to they're basically uploading a lot of the old like all their previous magazines and stuff they produce over the years. They're uploading them all.
Yeah.
So be it access like an archive of everything they've made, of all the stuff they've produced.
Mm-hmm.
So all the old magazines, all the old. Effectively, it's a subscription to the magazine as well, because I think that's as the new one launched, you get a digital version of it automatically.
Yeah.
You also get access to things like they've got like painting master classes, battle reports. There's also a Games Workshop app which allows you to do all army building on the app and has all the points values for all the armies, which normally you'd have to buy a book for. So yeah, you don't have all the background details, but you can actually buy a book and read through you can see the rules are. You get free access to that as well. So it's quite for £50. It's actually, or even £60 for this if you pay monthly. It's actually quite good value for money. There's a lot in there in that time. And they're producing something like 20 animated series, I think.
Sure.
So let's work our way through it. So the animated series, there's of the one they're producing, the first 3 episodes of one is up. The first episode of another one is up. So they're split. You've got Hammer and Bolter, which is an anthology series. So every episode's a different story, little short story, basically. That's traditional 2D animation. Very much, it feels very old. I will say, these have been done on a budget. We're not talking like huge production values here. I mean, the Hammer and Bolter if you were to watch and didn't know when it was released, you'd probably guess it's probably released sort of. To me, it felt sort of like animation from 20 years ago. You know, it's sort of like it's working on twos. It's sort of like animation style. A lot of sort of facials don't really move that much when they're talking and so forth.
I agree. I've seen the trailers. They seem pretty old school.
Old, yes. It's clearly running off. It's clearly riffing heavily off. I would say it's riffing quite off old school anime, sort of the old anime style. This one I looked, I thought this feels like anime. I mean, I wasn't really into it, but I've seen bits of anime, and this felt like the older stuff I've seen.
That was but they're all 3D rendered in that, aren't they?
Not all of it. No, there's a whole mixture.
Oh, okay, I've only seen the stuff that was 3D rendered and it looked like it was fucking like sin.
All right, 3D. Yeah, we'll go on to 3D stuff. So 2D stuff. This is the 2D stuff, and that feels like old anime. It's an actual fact they're all right. They're free. It's only 3 short stories. They're all quite interesting. 2 are like sort of like they're. I think they're based off stories that others have already that have been previously released. They've just like took from their sort of archive and then turned them into this animated form. One featuring an Inquisitor who's like sort of he's been foretold he's going to die and he's trying to sort of stave off death. There's one about this guy, and it's a whole episode about he basically is an adept in a library, and all his job is to do is count books and not read anything. That's his job, but it sort of like plays on that sort of temptation and so forth. And it does sort of play into it. Does if you have to know a bit about it. It doesn't tell you any backstory really to the world. You have to know a bit about it to sort of guess what's going on. So I think someone watching would have a clue. That's also said, hey, but obviously let's face it. If you're signed for Warhammer Plus, you do know the backstory. In general, I can't believe there people who aren't there who don't know it, who'll be signing up for it.
For sure.
And the third one is that's more of the comedy one. It's 2 orcs are getting told by an older orc, sort of a legend of this commissar who's like sort of had a fight with one of the big leaders, and it's based on the Armageddon campaign, which is I remember that being launched about 30 years ago. I remember when that all got launched, and there was a big thing then magazine about it. They had time books with it, special books and so thing. And these characters were in the books and so forth. You could buy the models, but you still can buy the models and play them on the battlefield and so forth.
Yeah.
And they've made a short story based around it. Of an existing short story that was out there, but they've sort of made one out of it. So that's quite neat. Then you've got the animated one, and the animated CGI one is the animation is really weird because it's very variable. So the actual general Pure Moonrat animation is actually it's very stylized, quite dark. It's very grainy and dark. But the Pure Moonrat, they sometimes feel quite smooth animated, until people start speaking, and the facial features aren't quite fluid enough. Again, it feels been done on a budget. And we're not talking Marvel here. You know, we're not talking anywhere near that sort of production value here. Also, interestingly, when you watch it, the voice doesn't seem to quite tie up with the facial movements. Like it almost looks like it's been dubbed. Is how I'd say it was. So I wonder if they had placeholder voices in, and they animated it to the placeholder voices, and then they've they got the proper voice actors in, and they've
gone and done some ADR to it.
Yeah, because it doesn't. They match, but they don't quite match up. So I wonder if that's what's happened. And what I tell you what is neat about it though is a lot of the actors. I recognise the 3 of the voices are the same people who read the Audible books. The actual if you buy a book from Audible, a lot of people there's a certain in the Warhammer books anyway. There's a certain group of people who seem to pop up again and again and again. Good examples: Toby Longworth, who read for Audible's read dozens of books. Audible. Well, he's turned up in this, and another person who's done a few has turned up in it. So they've obviously gone to Audible. So, well, these guys have already embodied the characters anyway. They know them. Let's pull them across and get them to voice some of the characters in this, which is kind of neat.
But they're not Audible originals, though, are they?
No, there's no Audible.
So what I'm saying is they wouldn't have to go to Audible to get those people to come across.
No, they've already Audible. But I like the idea that they've gone, well, the people who read audio books, I've already got the characters in mind. They know what to do it. So we'll just tell them to come do stuff with us.
Yeah, for sure, because they're already employed by them. So,
to
a degree.
Well, yeah, to a degree.
They had to have licensed the books over to a company to produce the audiobook, and they have final say on who actually does what. So
yeah, of course. But I like the fact they've done that, and I thought it's a nice they've done that. Because it's sort of like because these are people who've got the universe nailed down somewhat, and it shows. So that's all, and that's about sort of Blood Angels have lost some of their chapter Space Marines. Some of their party have got lost on a planet below, which is held up in a warp storm. And warp storms are like sort of the hell space they travel through. And occasionally, these warp storms that sort of cut planets off. They sort of plan to go down and trying to rescue them, and it ends with them sort of like managing to break through and get down there to rescue them. And then it's obviously ready for the next episode. So that's great. I actually enjoyed them. I said they're definitely on a budget. That doesn't necessarily mean they're crap. Just because it's a little bit ropey doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be crap. It just means it's done on a budget. They're watchable, so I quite enjoy them. I then went through. You then had the battle reports, which are about an hour. They're about an hour long, and it's literally two people. They fairly nicely edited. They basically play a game. They explain what armies they've picked, why they've picked them, what they're going to do. They talk about their plans, and between all of them playing each turn, they're sort of like saying, well, "This is what I was doing. This is what my plan was to do this," and discussing this all like going between them, actually sort of rolling the dice, so forth. That was neat. That was quite enjoyable. Actually, it's I always like watching all sort of other players play a game. It's always neat. It's like watching a Let's Play really for Warhammer. That was fun. The archive, as I've already been talked about, that's quite good. I went through some of that. There's got quite a lot on there initially. I mean, they're going to be adding a lot. Eventually, they're planning to add in all the old issues of White Dwarf, which would be quite sort of nice to go to memory lane, because I haven't got any of my copies anymore. So it'd be nice to go to memory lane.
I haven't seen a copy of White Dwarf in probably 30 years.
Yeah, well, they still make it. It's still they're still produced. You can still go and buy it from the shops if you want to.
Well, I mean, there used to be a shop in Lowestoft. What was that model? That was a model shop upstairs. They had Warhammer.
You mean Toys R Us?
No, it was Toy Master, wasn't it?
Toy Master, sorry, yeah, Toy Master.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had Warhammer upstairs.
But that had there was a different name. It was something else, Toy Master or whatever, like Hannets or something stupid like that.
I think they took over. It was somebody else, and they got took over by Toy Master.
Yeah, that's it. And yeah, that was the last time. And that place hasn't existed in forever.
Oh yeah, I remember that showing down.
That was the last time I'd ever seen a copy of White Dwarf in like face to face.
Yeah, I mean, you could still go. I think Derek Smith used to carry it.
Smith's had nothing that I was interested in. They had a very small selection of PC games once upon a time.
Yeah, but that's the best I know. It used to carry it. Yeah, I'm sort of looking forward to be able to sort of like go down to and then look at all the old magazines. I was like, oh, I'm reading this issue and so forth. That's gonna be sort of quite interesting. They've got other sort of books like supplements they've released in the past they don't produce anymore. They've put on there.
Yeah,
which is quite nice. Yeah, I said I can't fault the value for money for this. It's, I mean, by signing up, just signing up. I mean, it's no good for anybody else now because it's the Alpha expires on the 31st. Unless you're watching the live stream. If you start by then, you get a £10 gift voucher to use in the store as well on the actual main web store.
Oh, neat.
But it's only until the 31st. So by the time the orders is here, unfortunately, you'll be too late, I'm afraid.
So the only thing Games Workshop does that I'm even remotely interested in is Blood Bowl.
Yeah. I don't think they've got a lot of Blood Bowl stuff on it at the moment.
They wouldn't do because they killed it off and then bought it back, and they're probably going to kill it off
They've got some other sort of bits in there for third party. They are, but it's clearly like it's clearly sort of like, oh, we're still adding stuff onto it. Stage of things. So the app, I've tried to go over the app today. Works very well. Nice, quick and easy. Works nicely. So it's a little resource in your pocket. You want to quickly check it because it's got all the rules in there as well. You want to quickly check the rules. You can flip it out, quickly go to it, and you're there. You don't have to carry a big book with you. Mm-hmm. Handy. It's got all the stat sheets for your units as well. So again, you can just you don't have to carry the rule book or your codex anymore. It's all in the app there and then as you need it.
Sure.
If you need it. After a while, you tend to sort of have the codex, but don't really need to look at it very often because you sort of knew the rules off by heart. But then it's now on the app. It's there. It's done.
Yeah.
So that's quite neat. I think that's everything it covers on there. Yeah. But yeah, I have to say, if you're into Warhammer, it's very good value for money. I can't fault it. It's just surprising just what it is. So obviously, if you're not into Warhammer, it's not really any good for you.
Mm-hmm.
But any Warplanet, though, yeah, 50 quid a year is nothing really. Or you want to try it I think you just sign up for. You can always sign up for $4.99 for a couple of months and just see if you like it.
Yeah.
So kind of cool.
I mean As you said, they give you a what's it called for 25 quid, worth 25 quid or
Yeah.
thereabouts.
Yeah.
That alone should really be able to justify.
Yeah,
Is that
definitely.
only available if you go for the annual subscription, or do you get that if you pay the?
Yeah, it's that. I think yes, I think that's the annual subscription only.
Sure, that makes more
think-
sense. 'Cause
I
I don't think
don't-
they're going to give you a 25 quid model if you subscribe for 1 month and then
Oh
fucking
no, I tell you what
cancel
it is.
it.
I tell you what it is. No, I think you can get it for normal subscription, but
You have to
don't
have
get the
subscribed
model
until you've got like several months in.
you don't get the model until you've been subscribed for 12 months.
Oh, there you go. Sure.
Because it actually says that I think even that now actually says you won't get the model for 12 months.
Sure.
So you've had your first subscription. I suspect part of that is because they want to see how people want what.
Yeah.
So they can get an idea. But yeah, so I saw. But even that, if I say if once you subscribe for 12 months, then you get the model. That actually, that's half. Effectively, that's half the price.
Yeah, exactly.
The,
That's why I say that realistically, it's worth jumping in for the annual, or if it was only part of the annual, it'd be worth jumping in for the annual, even if you weren't sure if you wanted it, just for the model.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a little showpiece model. So the choices this year was a Vindicar assassin, and she's staying like it's basically a sniper. She's like into all this ruined imperial, like a statue of a sorry about that, statue of like a saint, I'd imagine. It's like sort of standing in there, sort of sniping out, or like this big war boss. So I've gone for the imperial assassin because I think she looks quite cool. Picked it up, but they're sort of like centerpiece units and so forth, for like sort of big showy off. But if you've got an orc army, that war boss is really cool.
Yeah.
So it'd be worth picking.
That's
that
like your
up,
Blood
and
Bowl
that's-
star players. You have like
Yeah.
unique units for the to put on the field that just look rad, and
Yeah,
but you can only have one of them because there's only supposed to be
yeah,
one of them, other than like your generic little fucking foot soldiers that get stomped on.
exactly. So yeah, cool. So yeah, so I just want to update that because it's released, and yeah, very cool, very pleased with it. So
Fair that.
I should be enjoying that, and even the animation actually I've quite enjoyed. So we'll carry on.
There you go.
Cool. Anything else from yourself, Skazz?
No, not really. Other than I think gaming and everything's going to be really thin for me for the next couple of weeks until end of September, because I'm trying to catch up on a series that ties, or two series that tie into a fighting game that's coming out at the end of the month. So a couple months ago, I did a big run through classic Guilty Gear games for the new Guilty Gear Strive. Well, now we've got the new, I can't even remember what the game is called, but it's part of the Melty Blood series, which is a spin-off fighting game series to a visual novel called Tsukihime, which is by Type Moon. I can't give people a huge amount of backstory to it because it's wobbly at best and Japan only, the visual novel. But the mainstream thing that they did that most people would know of, if you're into anime, would be Fate. The Fate series, like Fate Zero, Fate Stay Night. Well, I think Fate
I've
Zero
heard
is
of
a thing.
Fate. I've never seen Fate, but I've heard of Fate.
Sure. Well, it's the same team behind Fate. They did. I can't remember what the fuck it's called, but I can't remember the original anime's name or the manga's name, but the subtitle to it was The Garden of Sinners. And then after that came Tsukihime, which kind of loosely tied. It's got plot elements that relate between the two, and Fate is also kind of a parallel universe too, because it references the other two anime, visual novel, manga, whatevers. And then, funny enough, because we didn't get Tsukihime, the visual novel, I don't think we did. I've seen fan translations of it, and I've played fan translations of it, but I've never seen an actual like English version. It came out in Japan in like 2000. We got a spin-off fighting game, as I say, called Melty Blood. And Melty Blood's had a few different versions, and there's a version of it on Steam. But apparently, after like 13 plus years, they announced they were going to remake Tsukihime in 2008. So they've redone all the characters and all that fluff. They're apparently releasing it like next month, along with a new Melty Blood. So there's going to be a Melty Blood spin-off fighting game for the remake of Tsukahime that had a spin-off fighting game all those years ago, with all the new character designs and all that kind of stuff. But they haven't said if we're going to get an English release of Tsukahime's remake, if they're just going to call it Tsukahime Remake or whatever. Yeah, we don't know if we're going to get an English version of it. And the creator's a bit of a bellend because he's gone and said that he's not going to release a PC version because he thinks it's best to be played on console because it'll be on a big screen. And he wants like you got to have the bestest sound and stuff for this visual novel, which personally I think's horse shit because a visual novel is fucking reading. It's a lot of reading. The audio in visual novels is usually pretty good. The soundtrack's usually pretty good, but it's fucking reading. I don't need a 4K TV and a beastie 7.1 surround sound system or an Atmos system to enjoy a visual novel.
No.
I mean, a lot of people who play
reading.
A lot of the people who play the original Tsukahime are playing it on a hacked engine on their phones. So I don't think the remake really needs all that shit. I would love to see it on PC if it comes out. I don't like the new character designs because they've changed one of my favourite characters. I'm not a fan. But I'm looking forward to the new Melty Blood that comes out and to see if Tsukahime actually gets an English release. Because I've had this kind of discussion with you before about how it kind of annoys me how parts of series get left in one country and then like the sequel gets localized. Because we had the same issue with Steins Gate.
Yeah.
So like Chaos Head comes out, never gets released in the West. Steins Gate comes out, gets a release in the West. Robotics Notes comes out, doesn't get released in the West, gets completely shit on by its creator for years and years and years and years and years. But then you get an anime of all three that get released in the West. Then you get a remake of Steins Gate and a sequel to Steins Gate and a spin-off to Steins Gate. And then out of nowhere, they say, well, we're going to release recently, let's re-release the fucking third game in the series and a bunch of spin-off games. They released a fucking sequel to the first one, Chaos Head. So we got Chaos Child, but they did in English, but we never got fucking Chaos Head. So just like, ugh. And that's how I'm feeling with Tsukahime and Melty Blood at the moment. Like, are we actually gonna get the materials that tie into this stuff or what? And Melty Blood's the new Melty Blood's kind of bugging me because I want to play it on PC, but the only way that you can get it, the only way you can pre-order it at the moment is on Xbox and Switch. Where's my Steam release?
Yeah.
And I reckon most players are going to play it on PS4 and PC, but they're the two places you can't pre-order it yet.
Because I see pieces. I hate it with developers will say, I'm not going to release it on X or Z because I don't think it should be the wrong way to draw. It's like when directors say, well, you should see this. You should see if you're not watching the film in the cinema, you're really not getting the proper experience.
Sure.
Well, it doesn't mean you can't enjoy it at home. So
give me the fucking thing.
Yeah,
But that's the funny thing, because they're releasing Melty Blood on PC. The new Melty Blood's coming to PC, but the game that it's fucking based off of, because the new Melty Blood game is using the character designs of the Tsukahime remake that isn't out yet. So I guess they're going to be released side by side. I guess. I don't know, but I'm guessing. Because Melty Blood comes out at the end of the month, right? They're going to release Melty Blood on PC, the new Melty Blood on PC. But not Tsukahime?
It's like, why?
Yeah.
Would you do that? Yeah.
The game that has more interaction is coming to PC, and the one that I have to fucking read is only coming out on my TV, on my big screen TV with my epic surround sound system.
Speaking of that little noises, the text pause on the screen, that noise you will hear so beautifully.
Yeah, but that's great. But I'd also love. You'd think sound is more important when I'm punching someone in the fucking face, or listening for audio cues. If I can do that on PC, I'm pretty sure the visual novel's going to be just as good. I'm wondering if they're going to go the Steins Gate Zero. Not Steins Gate Zero, sorry. Steins Gate Elite, because they remade Steins Gate with like all video fluff and like animated cutscenes and stuff like that. I'm wondering if that's what they're doing with the new Tsukahime, but I haven't actually played through Steins Gate Elite yet. So I don't know how that worked compared to the original, even though I own it like 15 times on all the different platforms. But please give us Tsukahime in English. If you're going to keep giving us spin-off games in English-speaking countries, can we have the game that it's based off?
Yeah, the irony is like, yeah, you can have all these. Yeah, exactly. Let's give you everything else that's spun off, but we're not going to give you the actual main game.
Yeah, I know, because we get all the Fate games. I don't think we got the Fate visual novels, but we got like all of the other Fate games and all of the other Fate anime. I think the movies, because I sat down with Inky today to watch some of the films that tie into, or that came out before. They're based on the manga that came out before Tsukahime, that kind of tie into Tsukahime, that are kind of mentioned in Fate. There's like 11 of them. Wait. Yeah, 11 of these films. So you have to be able to put down 11 hours to get the full story. Because they don't give it in, like, there's not like 26 episodes like you normally get in an anime series. They've just said, fuck it, have 11 films. And we sat down to watch some of that. But even that hasn't been dubbed. Or I haven't seen it dubbed. We get that, but we don't get Tsukahime.
No.
We get the Tsukahime anime, but no game. And so they're doing the same kind of thing that they did with Chaos Head. It's like, if I've got the fucking anime, give me the fucking game.
That'll take us time to localise it. We're not going to do that.
Yeah,
We've got to get someone to translate it, or that'll take.
And I guess that's kind of the problem, though, because the visual, it's all text, isn't it? So there's so much more to do. But come on, if you can, bring your works to the West, you bastards.
Yeah, I mean, if the spin-offs are selling, then that's all that says. Well, if the spin-offs are selling, clearly there's a market for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, play a translation company to translate it.
Yeah. Even if it's a shit translation, there's already a fan patch out there. Look, let's put it this way. They could steal the fan patch and put it on there. And that's been done before, by the way. Big companies have done that before. Just
I've
literally
heard that, yes.
taken translations and just slapped them on a commercial product.
Yeah.
The
Microsoft approach.
They just say, like, or just go up to go up to the fan translation guys and just say, yeah, you know, we'll give you $50. Like, most of them would go, fuck yeah, we'll take it. Because most fans already know of the fan translation guys. They just do. Fans of visual novels are super fucking passionate about this shit. Just, you know, acknowledge that the fan translation exists. That would usually be enough. But just give me the. I want to see. I hope Tsukahime comes out and it's good and people like it and we get a translation of it, because it would be nice to actually get Melty Blood's story from its source, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Because we can play Melty Blood, we know about Melty Blood, we know about the characters in Melty Blood, but we don't get all of the kind of subtle shit in the background because it's kind of awkward to play Tsukahime. It's kind of like you can't play Chaos Head for the little Steins Gate tie-in bits, or we can't play Chaos Head to get the tie-in bits to Chaos Child because it doesn't work on Windows 10. You can get the game one way or another, but getting it to work on Windows 10's a ball ache. Can we bring it forward so that people can get the full story? I've always hated that when story gets fragmented because of how old source material is.
Yeah. It's like, no one's going to want to buy this game that's that old. We won't bother translating it.
It's not even like you could buy it. Because for the original Tsukahime, you haven't been able to buy for years. You know, it's 21 years old. It took them ages to do the remake.
It's been an ideal time to do a collector's edition.
Well, that's one thing that I've really liked. Like years ago, everyone got really aggro with the whole like, oh look, it's a remaster of a game that's only just come out. But I like it when games come forward to new systems or new consoles or new operating systems, because then we can have a collection.
Is that why you love Bethesda so much?
Oh, good job, Bethesda. Keep on giving me Skyrim with all those fucking bugs. Oh, fuck me.
Bethesda and Rockstar.
Like, everyone QQs about fucking Cyberpunk, and yet you've still got vanilla bugs in Skyrim Remastered.
Yeah, but let's face it, you don't need to worry about it because someone's made a fan patch for it. It's fine.
Yeah, and that's why we don't get translations of visual novels. It's already fan patches. What do you need these for?
Yeah.
But, you know...
When you install Skyrim these days, immediately after you install it, downloads a couple of fan patches to fix it all.
It's like that's why I actually really like PC, because like Ys, I can get some of the Ys games on PlayStation. I can get some of them on Vita. I can get one of them on Xbox. I can get a handful of them on the Switch. But on PC, I can get all of them. In one way or another, with the exception of Ys 5, maybe? I think it's 5. The one that was on the Super Nintendo. But then you can emulate that. So
yeah.
PC's got all the Magic games. Same with a lot of games that used to be on PlayStation exclusive. They're now on PC. So PC's got all of the stuff. Can I have a nice collection of loads of classic games, please? Like, outside of emulation, so I can actually support the people who fucking made the damn things?
Yeah.
Because that's why collections are so good. And if you are remastering a game from back in the day for whatever fucking reason, just spend some time and localize it. You know, don't give us, like as you've just said, if you're going to give us a side story, give us the source. If you're going to give us a sequel, give us the source in an easily digestible package. Please.
Yeah.
Because it's a fucking ball ache.
Particularly in the case of a visual novel, it's basically, let's face it, it's a narrative-led medium. It's about the story. You're
So
not going to
you can get the second bit, but you'll never be allowed to read the first bit unless you go onto a fan wiki or something.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, just please, just give me the fucking thing.
Yeah. It's not like Doom where the story is, here's a gun, kill demon.
Yeah, I mean, that's really complicated. I mean, it is now.
Yeah. Oh, no. Now it's, here's a gun, you feel a bit sad about this, go kill demon. They've had a bit of emotion into it.
And now you throw a grenade too.
Story.
And a flamethrower.
And a flamethrower.
And Doomslayer remembers the time when he was a kid and he used to rock around on the monkey bars.
Yeah.
Because monkey bars are in the game. They are.
Are we sure that this is actually set on Earth and demon sort of like invasion? Are you sure it's not like a child having a sugar rush and filled in hallucinogenic dream?
Who
in
knows?
A playground?
A kid has drank too many Red Bulls.
Explain on the monkey bars.
Yeah. Who's to say?
Are there any slides in it?
Oh, I might have to look.
Is there a merry-go-round in it?
You know, you might be onto something there.
Have I broken this thing right open? The secret storyline to Doom Eternal.
I think it is.
It's actually a small child in the local park.
It's Hell's Daycare Centre.
It's Hell Daycare Centre.
Because makes sense. It does.
Yeah.
All the jumping and climbing up walls and
yeah,
running around like a fucking lunatic. It is literally a hyperactive child.
The alternative start, which you don't see unless you complete the game, is the special. It's just a toddler going to a play group and just drinking like Iron Brew or something.
It is. Well, it's kids, like when kids play cops and robbers. This is kids playing Doom Guy.
Yeah.
That's it.
This time you be the demon, I'll have the chainsaw.
And that's it. That is exactly how this works. Game of the year.
I've solved it. See, I've saved it for him.
It's not shit anymore. It's great now. I'm gonna have.
It's about children in a park.
I'm going to play it again with that as the idea. That's gonna be great.
Yeah.
So every time the kid, like every time Doom Guy, every time I get wrecked, it's not because I'm shit. It's just because it's the feeble kid's turn.
Yeah.
It's the kid that's really shit at fucking like the kid that gets picked last. It's their turn to be Doom Guy.
Are there any demons that try and grab you?
Yes.
That's your parents.
Fuck. Oh, them kids are pretty brutal. What are they doing? Kicking them in the nards all the time when they try to do the glory kills.
Children are pretty brutal.
They are.
They're basically little murder machines.
I agree. I can confirm, if any of you haven't got children, that is very true. And they will take pot shots at your sanity, your ego. You know, they do that. They don't just kick the shit out of you physically and wear you out. They will mentally destroy you. Game of the year.
There we go. I've saved it.
Yep. Please just give us the English version of Tsukahime.
I'm now going to change my show notes to say Skazz been playing the playground simulator Doom Eternal.
There you go. Nailed it. Parenting. Parenting simulator. Catch that little bastard.
Anyone who reads these show notes is going to get very confused unless it's right to the very end of the podcast.
Yeah. Keeping you on your toes. Keeping that engagement going.
Indeed.
And they'll be like, what's a Tsukahime Doomslayer? By the way, I just want to, just so people know, Tsukahime means moon princess.
Oh.
Or it's lunar young woman of higher birth.
Right.
That's what that means. Yeah. So moon princess, Tsukahime, that's what you got to play. And there's people getting killed and it's fantastic. It's a stupid as fuck story which got turned into a fighting game. It's just, so good.
Awesome.
That's what I'm looking forward to next month. That's going to drain my bank account. Because I can't figure out what version people are going to buy, and I don't know if we're actually going to get the game. When are we going to get Melty Blood on PC? Or is it going to be one of those games that's going to be an Epic Store exclusive that I don't realise has come out for like 10 years? Well, that's what happened with Samurai fucking Showdown. By the time it came out on Steam, I didn't realise it had already been out on the fucking Epic Store for a year. And the player base was gone by the time it came out on Steam. Bastards. Epic Store, go away. Please. Keep Fortnite. Keep doing that. Just go away. Everything else, go away. Give us back Rocket League. And then go away. And Genshin Impact. Give Steam that. Then go away. Because we don't like you. You can keep Unreal Engine. No one likes that. Go away.
Actually, I have to say, I owe Unreal Engine an apology.
Do you?
I think last time I talked about Unreal Engine, I sort of said, I've used the blueprints and the visual scripting stuff, and it's it's okay for like HUDs and stuff, but not much else. I've been doing some stuff in it this week, and I was like, I need to do this little simulation. It's a fairly compact little simulation, nothing major. I thought, I want to know how well this will go in blueprints, and I'm slightly converted to blueprints now for something simple. Really in-depth stuff, very common, then yes, you want your C++, but actually for little simple things, actually blueprint work really well.
Basically, anything really nasty we say, give it a couple of weeks and we'll take it back. We are the Flip-Flop podcast.
Oh, yes.
I have noticed we do that a lot.
Oh, yeah, we do.
That was shit, and you're fucking lame. Oh, mate, that was brilliant. Yeah. Do you remember? Oh, mate, I never play those. Those really suck. They're my favourite games, and I've been playing them since I was young.
Yeah. But yeah, I had to script a little simulator of a engine type I wanted to simulate, and I did it in Blueprint, and it was so easy. I was like, oh, Blueprints, I owe you an apology. This sort of stuff, you actually work really well. You've got some weirdness to you, but actually, you're a lot more sophisticated than I gave you credit for.
See, what you're having there is a
not.
Doom Eternal moment.
It's
You had
as
one
well as
look
it's
at it, you thought it was shit,
yeah.
and then give it about 6 weeks' time, you're like, that was fucking amazing. Once
As
you
long
get
as
used to it.
Yeah. Once you, I still wouldn't do anything particularly complicated because visual scripting I do find hard to follow when you're doing anything complicated.
Is
But
that
the
your fault
nice
or
thing-
its fault?
certain algorithms are going to be fairly complicated. You can't get away from it.
Sure.
Certain things will be.
programmed.
That's yeah, exactly. So, but things that I found great about I enjoy about blueprints. One, they compile so quick.
And it's got a cool name.
Yeah, you just click a button, it's boom, it's compiled. Whereas when you do any change in C++, if you edit header files, it takes about a minute to recompile it. Maybe 2 minutes to recompile, so it takes a long time to compile. So you daren't touch it too much. Another nice thing is because the way Visual Studio interacts with and the engines, you can't debug. If you want to debug, the only way you can get information out of your code is using like a print to the log.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you get information out of it. Because you can't go into your code and watch it like execute step by step through the code.
Mm-hmm.
Blueprints, you can have them up on your screen and it'll actually show you which node it's on as it's going through it, and you can click on it and you get all the details about what's it saying, what it's calculating, and so forth.
See, guys
So
out
much
there,
easier.
I'm old and stupid now, and I can't remember all of the words that I learnt years ago to say what all of this stuff was. But like,
Yeah, I want to say something in a minute.
right?
Go on.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, it just reminds. So you know, like Unity.
Yeah.
You download Unity and you go to do some bits in Unity, and then you need another piece of software to tie into Unity to do this other thing that you want to do in Unity. Right? Or like you need to have this other thing to do the 3D graphics that you can't do in Unity because Unity's only the bit that sticks everything and makes things. Yeah. Like, fuck me. It just annoys me that you can't just have like a generic thing that you download. Like, here's full. And you'll have like a generic fuck all graphics editor, a generic fuck all 3D kind of rendery tool, or what. Like I said, I can't remember the names that all these like little bits have. Like text editors, the thing that you name to go with the thing when you tie them together. They have a specific. Anyway, it just annoys me that you can't just have a full pack because, like, for example, if my children want to get into Unity, I then have to get them 10 other pieces to go with it when what they want to do can't be done directly in Unity.
I mean, the thing it's also a lot of these systems is like it's like everything. It's like business. Your company who makes a game engine, not saying making doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be any good making a 3D modeling engine. To be fair, Unity does come with a code editor called MonoDevelop. Which you can write C++ code in, C# code in, sorry. But it works so much better when it's linked to Visual Studio because MonoDevelop has basically no syntax prediction. It's basically like Notepad, realistically. So it's not meant to debug stuff. But you don't need Visual. But given that Visual Community is now free, well, it's free, so you might as well have it in, and it's a bit more powerful. To Epic's thing, Unreal Engine's actually got a surprising amount of stuff edited in it. You can edit like materials in it. You can do sort of basic 3D modeling in Unreal Engine. It won't be very good because it's not what it's designed to do primarily, but you can do it. I think you've got to bear in mind the sort of like people who they're actually aiming at, probably either small teams who tend to have, okay, this guy's the guy who does the modeling.
Yeah.
So he will just do it on Blender and I'll just import it. So it's I think just by nature it'd be nice to have it all in one package, but it's just practically not
yeah, it's not feasible.
Easily,
I just kind of wish that there was kind of like I don't know, it's buried on the site somewhere and you can just go click this and it will download and install, the Unreal Engine, Visual Studio, or Unity, Visual Studio, Blender, and then it's all hooked in together, and then you can just like throw it at someone with a book. And
Epic have now released for Blender a add-on for Blender that automatically will export your models into your project.
That's
So
magic.
you have to manually do it anymore. Literally, you have to come on. I've done it, used it a couple of times, but literally, you click a button. So basically, you get like an extra folder appearing in your Blender where you put everything in that you want to be exported. Click a button, it just does it all for you. Bakes the animations, all the materials, everything.
That's rad.
Just gets sent across automatically. So they have. If Unreal Engine is far better developed, mainly because Epic have been at it a lot longer than Unity people.
Oh yeah,
have.
for sure.
It is, however, more complicated and more. I said this before. Unreal Engine feels like a professional bit of software. Unity feels like prosumer software. It's like Windows Movie Maker compared to something like Final Cut. Or
Yeah, I could see that. I could get that.
It feels like and it feels Unity feels very janky when you're using it.
Yeah.
It feels very. You know how when they first start making the first version of some a bit of open source software that comes out to copy something, it runs but feels a bit janky until they get better and refine it and so forth. Like early versions of Blender.
Yeah, and then they refine it and it becomes its own thing. It's a proper tool eventually.
Yeah, that's how Unity feels. I mean, I don't know if the new version of Unity is like, because I've dropped over 3 years, dropped ship a little while ago. Unity felt like that when I switched to Unity to Unreal. That's what the difference felt like. It felt like I've gone from using a very engine to like using a professional bit of software, because obviously Unreal is used by. There aren't many AAA companies using Unity to make games. There are quite a few who use Unreal.
Sure.
And it's the same software that they use that you're using.
Yeah. So I mean, it does make me chuckle a bit, actually, when you see how much shit comes out of Unreal Engine. I mean, like, fighting games, first-person shooters.
It's a very versatile engine.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic. It's a lovely engine.
I mean, I think Samurai Showdown, the fighting game, I think that's Unreal Engine. And then I think to myself, but then you've got, like, first-person shooters and all that, and it's just like, they look fantastic, and they function in this engine, but they're completely different types of game.
Yeah, it's very hard to make it. Even something like the basic levels when you load up basic level in Unreal, which is just like a grey box in a grey room, and like Unity has a similar sort of thing. Unreal looks better. You think, how does a grey box look better? It just does. The lighting's better. Unreal's got a lot better lighting. It just looks nicer.
Sure.
So it's a grey box in a room, but it just looks better. I can't explain it. It just looks better.
No, I get you.
It's a very weird.
It's a hard one to dumb down enough to explain without you sounding like a complete muppet in the process.
Yeah, it's such a nice bit of although I still don't think I would recommend if someone wants to go into game development fresh with no real background. I don't think I'd say to use Unreal Engine. I certainly felt that I had a leg up having done programming stuff in other engines first.
Sure, I get you.
I thought I had a
understand
leg up. Yeah, I think that would be just too overwhelming. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, by no means, but I feel that it's Unreal. It's just the amount of times I've been like, okay, I need to do this. I need to solve this problem. I look at Unity, I do a bit of research. How do I solve this problem? And I find I've got to basically code something from scratch. I then look at the same thing in Unreal Engine. And it turns out they've actually programmed that already in there and run their thousands of or hundreds of components they've got. They've actually got a component that does exactly what I need, generates the information I need to do it. I need to be able to make a procedure generated objects that can be destroyed and damaged, like an asteroid type thing, say, for example.
Yeah.
I've now found out Unreal's got that built in. It's got literally there's code built in that obviously you have to set it up and put the one across. But I watched a guy, one of the developers, just walking around this place. And he's just like shooting spears at things. It's procedurally deforming the terrain. Literally, like the spear cuts a perfect spear out of it. It's just procedural. I was like, that's exactly what I need, and it's built in. It's there. I find it all the time. Once I do a bit of digging, what I want to do is there. It's surprising how much is in Unreal and how much it's funny, despite the fact that in theory C++ is a harder language, and it is harder. It's definitely been a learning experience switching to it. I'm getting stuff done quicker.
Well, it's because the tool set that it's tied to is more refined.
Yeah,
You know, that's the cool part about it, is that it's so much harder, but it's also so much more refined that whilst the learning curve, like the initial learning curve is going to be much steeper, the extra kit that comes with it actually makes things easier. Kind of like if you were to use, well, like we said earlier, like if you were to use something like Final Cut or whatever versus an open source alternative, because the pro level kit is going to be much harder to get into, but when you look at all the extra kit that comes with it, it makes other jobs so much easier because there's a lot more kind of one-click dealios in it.
I think another example is perhaps say a point and shoot camera compared to say a proper professional DSLR type camera with all the extra features and functionality in it. Yeah, you can get good photos on both, but you've got probably more refinement on your DSLR than your little budget £100 digital camera you're going to buy.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot more refinement. Yes, it's harder to use, but once you know it, you can do a lot more in-depth things easier in many ways than the simple one that tries to do it all for you.
Yeah.
Because you're not fighting with it. You're working with it rather than fighting it.
Yeah. I think that's to a degree now. Now that we've got all these, now we all have all these fucking bollocks AI features on phones. I'm starting to think that maybe it's not even worth, for some people, it's just not even worth buying, like cameras and that.
I think for a large job, it's not worth buying a camera unless you want to actually get into it as a hobby. You know, you want to. I think for a lot of people, that for your average Joe, your phone camera is good enough these days.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't think you see that many people on holiday tours these days with like it used to be that if you went on anywhere like sort of an event or show, like there'd be loads of people there all carrying around cameras and so forth, and perhaps people would have like different lenses. So some people just like the basic cameras that are all built in one. But now most, apart from the sort of like you might see the old professional hobby or like keen hobbyists there have a camera, most people just get their phone out and film it. And
well, what I'm saying is now that you're actually almost guaranteed to get a worse result if you buy a proper camera.
Yeah.
Versus your phone.
Unless you know what you're doing.
Oh yeah, for sure. But then even then, there are going to be certain circumstances where, I don't know, like you take a picture with your phone and it does all this fucking AI jiggery pokery to it to get a decent image. Like, if I had my camera but I didn't have the correct lens with me, I'd be shit out of luck. So I won't get anything. Yeah. Whereas if I just use my phone, it might look kind of crap, but I'll have something.
Yeah.
And there are some people out there who will they'll buy a camera, take a picture with it, realize it's not like they haven't got the right lens for it for that environment, or they didn't think about it at the time, got shit results out of it, pulled out their phone, snapped a picture with the phone, jiggery pokery happens, image is there, and they go, well, this camera's shit, and then just bin it off. But it's just because it doesn't, there's a lot more to it to get a decent thing out of it. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, that's your big difference, I think, between the keen hobbyist / professional than your average person who just wants to have a camera, you know, or any this true of lots of things today. You know, it just works. It just, you know, you can. I mean, back in the old day, I mean, you know, like something like cars. If you wanted a fast car back in the day, you'd have to be prepared to spend a lot of time tinkering with it. You buy something, do it up. Now you can just buy a Ford Focus off the short that does like 200 brake horsepower, and off you go.
Yeah, well, that, and you actually also had to know how to drive it, otherwise you'd kill yourself. Whereas now there's so many assists.
Yeah, does it all for you.
Yeah.
So the future of technology, eh?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, but I will say, actually, just going back to the coding thing and the open source versus the pro tool, or the prosumer versus the pro tool. The trick is, if you've learnt the hard way to do something, like, so if you've learnt how to do something manually, you know, audio alignment for you know, dual audio systems or whatever, like syncing. My brain is gone, so I can't think of the actual terminology here, like dual syncing audio or whatever. The having the off-camera audio sync up with your camera audio. These days, there's like a one-button option for that, right? But if some people would literally shit the bed if they went into a software suite that didn't have that, like because for some things it's automatic, or a one button thing. If you learn the hard way, you can do an edit or a cut or whatever in anything.
You can fix stuff easier as well. You can fix problems when they do occur that someone who's not done that before won't have a clue where to start. You'll be able to fix it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, when you know all the correct ways to do stuff, and rather than having to do it all done for you, when you know the correct setup of camera and so forth, you can start bending the rules. And a lot of like interesting film looks and film tricks where people have bent the rules of what technically by the book you shouldn't do it that way. But they've like, well, actually, I'm going to tweak the rules a little bit, and it's become a style or artistic. And because they've known they can where to tweak, where to bend, and where to twist. Whereas someone does it all for you, you don't get that choice.
And you look exactly like everyone else.
Yeah, you may have some filters you can put on it, like turns it to sepia, but that's about it. You know, you can't choose how to like adjust that depth of field to get the right style with a really clear fudge in the bokeh in the background. You ain't got that sort of fine. You can't. You've got a lot. Once you know how to do things the hard way, you've actually got a lot more options.
Yeah.
Open to you. Whereas when somebody does it all for you, the options are sort of closed off.
Well, it's like that idea as well that if you then end up having to go back to more basic tools, or if something breaks or a feature gets removed, you already have the knowledge to do it manually anyway. You have the you know how that thing works, that one click thing that does like the 10 things. You know what those 10 individual things are.
Yeah.
Whereas in the new thing, it's just a thing. And people are like, well, fucking, how am I supposed to do that? If you've come from the more basic thing, or the thing that doesn't have that one click, if you know those 10 steps to get that thing to work, you can do it in anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah. I mean, we're not saying you have to like go right down to bare bones basics, but the surface that technology's moved on from. Like, okay, you want to learn programming. I'm not saying to you go learn assembly.
No, for sure. But what I'm saying is, like, for example,
yeah.
if you were to go to like Kden Live on Linux and then look at Final Cut, and someone will say, yeah, but it doesn't have that. So yes, but how does that work? How does that one feature work? Because what you might find is it might only be, whereas one step in that is 3 steps in Kden Live. So you can do the same thing if you know how it works. If you know how that effect works or how that feature works, it might not be a 1 click, it might be 3. Yes, it's more time consuming, but you can still do it.
You know what you want to do, what to achieve.
Yeah.
And you know how to sort of twist everything to make it work.
Yeah. As you say, with the cameras, you have... But then that's the other trick as well. If you know how this shit works, and you have, like... So you said how... If you know how you can dial in your depth of field and focus, and you can get your exposure and all that... If you actually end up getting stuck with a camera that runs in auto, if you know how all that stuff works, and you kind of understand how, let's say, for example, it's like center focus, and it reads the exposure from the center point of the frame. It's not like evaluative, like the entire frame. You can go, I know a trick that I can do outside of the camera, like with my lighting or whatever, to actually get this to do what I want it to, because I know how this shit works.
Yeah, exactly. Posh, fancy tools don't make you instantly... If you buy an expensive camera, it doesn't make you instantly an expert. You have to sort of learn and use it. A bit like what you're saying, like, you know how to use it. You can then make something that's not posh or fancy do what you want it to do.
Yeah.
If you gave a professional filmmaker a phone, Android, iPhone, whatever, and say, film me a short film with this, and then you give someone who isn't one, who knows how to use a phone or video on a camera, film me a short film, the professional filmmaker almost certainly will produce a far better quality product.
Yep.
Just simple things like framing and getting the lighting right, that sort of, they'll produce a far better quality product using the same tool, even if it's a really basic tool, because they know the advanced tool.
It's like I used to watch a video series years ago called was it Cheap Camera Pro Tog Challenge, and it was by a company called Digital Rev, and it was on the channel Digital Rev TV. And on as I say, what they would do is they would get like a cheap fucking like point and shoot or whatever, and then give it to a professional photographer and say, like, I don't know, my personal favourite was one by photographer Zach Arias, and they give him this fucking really janky point and shoot, like no-name point and shoot camera, full auto, and then they give him he's a strobist, so he uses speed lights and stuff, and they give him just a random generic fucking speed light flash, and they say, right, figure this out, go out on the streets and take some fucking photos, but you have to get the speed light to go to in the photos, and so he figures out how the camera is metering and how he can trigger the speed light with this camera, even though the camera doesn't know there's a speed light there. He then figures out through his knowledge of how all this shit works how to make it work, and he takes some phenomenal fucking images with it because he understands how it works at a fundamental level. Yeah, just look, as an example of what you just said. If you give a professional shit tools, they're still going to get a somewhat decent result, just because they know how it works.
Yeah.
By the way, worth checking out those videos. By the way.
Yeah, if you drop me a link, I'll put them in the show notes.
Cool. I've just noticed I've been rambling on for like 500 years, just really fucking like the highway of an explanation when literally all it needed was a straight road. But yeah, learn your shit, people. Don't just look for but the new software or the new camera's got this thing. Go back and learn the basics of how all this stuff was done before, because you'll find that you'll be like, for all these people that are out there looking for the latest and greatest gear. Don't get me wrong, I'm guilty of that too. I'm always looking for new microphones, new mixers, new cameras, new lenses. But at the end of the day, you'll look at something and go, well, like, for example, like I've got a Panasonic GH5, right? But then you look at something and you go, but hang on a minute, how were they shooting something really, really beautiful back in the day with, I don't know, Canon 60D? A Rebel T2i, like much lower end stuff. How the fuck were they doing that with a point and shoot or some random tape camera? How did they do it? Well, because then you get the really expensive thing and you produce shit. It's because you don't know what you're doing. The camera isn't going to save you. The equipment isn't going to save you. It might make it. It will make it in some cases. Yeah, it will help, but it will also amplify your shitness.
Yeah.
If you can't get if you're really crap in 1080p, if you've got like a Canon 60D, I've got a Canon 60D just sat over there. If I can't produce something decent with that Canon 60D, my fucking GH5 is just going to amplify how shit I am.
You can buy the most expensive, poshest cycle bike out there.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that you're instantly able to ride the Tour de France in a competitive time.
For sure.
Without any practice or fitness or so forth. It doesn't. It helps.
Yeah.
But you've got to put the work in as well. Still, even now with all the advanced features on it, you've still got to have the work.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's gonna be better than a basic thing, but it's not going to be as good as someone who knows what they're doing or has got the prep work or the experience behind it.
Yeah.
And that's part of the fun. That's part of the fun of taking up a hobby, is learning how to do stuff and knowing when you can ignore doing bits and pieces or where you can adjust or trick and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the fun of it.
So it turns out that Doom Eternal is actually a really good game. Unity is probably actually a lot better than we think it is. And everything...
Oh, don't get me wrong. Unity is not a terrible game engine. I mean, in many ways, games are being made in Unity, and there's quite a few good games being made in Unity. It's not a terrible game engine. It's just... It does not... I just don't personally feel it's as feature-rich. True is the wrong word. I would say it's probably more true than Unreal. It's more beginner-friendly.
Sure.
I would still say if I was going to, if someone, it's a great, if someone wants to learn game development, it's a great engine to start with. It's just not got the sort of versatility. Because actually, one other good thing about it actually is it won't overwhelm you. Whereas when you open up Unreal, it's quite overwhelming because there's so many functions and features in it.
Yeah.
It can be quite overwhelming. So Unity is by no way
Your movie maker versus your Final Cuts.
Exactly. Unity is by no way a bad engine, a bad game. It's not. I'm not saying all Unity games are terrible. I've played plenty of decent games. It's just doesn't feel as feature complete as like Unreal does.
Yeah.
I've never tried Crysis engine. I don't know how or Cry engine. So I've never tried that. I don't know what that's like, so I can't compare to that.
You haven't got a PC capable of running it.
Can you run the Cry engine? From what I understand, CryEngine's probably in a similar bracket to Unreal Engine in terms of its feature complete so far, which makes sense because it's again come out. It's come out. The company it's come from is a far more is professional. That's what they do.
Yeah.
So so it's good. But yeah, I just want to quickly throw that little apology to Unreal in there before we close up. Anything else at all before we close up?
No, mate, that's it. I've babbled enough, I think. I've managed to extend this episode far beyond where it really should have gone.
Yeah. So, anyway, well, thank you very much for watching. I'm the Suffolk Graham.
Scazius?
You can join us on our next podcast live stream, which will be on Saturday, the 11th of September, 2021, 21:30 GMT +1. You can also join us on our next game night, which is always a Tuesday after podcast broadcast, which in this case will be Tuesday the 31st of August at approximately 8:30 GMT +1. You can check us out on our Twitch channels. I'm twitch.tv/the Suffolk Graham.
And I be twitch.tv/Skazzius, SK4ZZI0US, when I stream.
So thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you on episode 174.
We can count +1. Take it easy, guys.
Episode number ++.